Tonight. What's up, y'all? You ready, Clyde?
Let's
All right.
do it.
You, what's up, bro?
What's going on with you, bro?
Ain't too much. How you feeling?
Feeling pretty good, man. Been a little struggle, but we here. Yeah, we here though.
I can dig it. But it's been a tough one, brother. I think tonight's your own time, bro. You can kind of do your. I was thinking. I'm in the space of shadow work today. You know what I'm saying? So what better place not to try and touch on, you know, and give transparency to that. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
you got the personal experience and a licensed peer counselor now.
Let's do it.
Yeah, that's a rock with that. But no, man, like that,
Let's
that,
do it.
that topic interesting though, bro. I'm glad you brought that one up. I'm glad that came to your attention because it's definitely something that need to be talked about, and it's something I feel like something that's overlooked that ain't taken seriously. But what made you what you think of how you come across that? What made you think about that?
Uh, I was just trying to dig deeper, because we always talk about the regular shadow work and dealing with depression and anxiety and stuff like that.
Mm.
And then you get to this place where you become kind of stagnant, but you still dealing with emotions that you can't explain.
Yeah.
So I just started digging in, like looking for more videos. I'm a big YouTuber. So I go on YouTube, I type in anything like how you deal with this, how you deal with that. So I'm looking up stuff like digging deeper into my childhood trauma because maybe it's stuff that I don't regular like that I can't just identify without
Okay.
really digging.
I got
And then I came across this video and those questions popped up. So it made me think like this is a good topic to talk about. Like for
you. Oh
real.
yeah. Now that joint put me into a thinking space. I think I worked out the last 2 days just thinking about like really the impact of that. You know what I'm saying? And what that could mean for a lot of people. And
Mhm.
that's like when I think about, you know what I'm saying, like go back only I can reference is kind of myself, right? So if I go back and reference that, it's just like, damn, like the adult version of me was messed up because of because of
Because of
some
what happened
things
to child.
like uh
Because of what happened to child version.
yeah, and I text you so I wouldn't forget to talk about the like the arrested development.
Yeah, and when you was texting me, I had never heard of those two terms. So I was like on Google. I told him Google and YouTube. I'm gonna type in. I'm gonna try to figure it out. I'm gonna check a couple sources and
Yeah,
see if
yeah.
I can figure it out. And I was just reading over like, wow, I think I deal with both of those.
It's crazy, right? Like what
Yeah.
like how you feel, like what you think, like what you notice in your and within your like now, like what you figure out like why you respond some ways, then you think about it, like that somatic responses.
Yeah, like honestly, this is my opinion. I may be wrong, but I feel like a somatic response for me is when I feel triggered, I shut down. Shutting down is kind of like withdrawing. Only say that because the example I saw when I typed the term up was like it's the equivalent of pulling your hand back from a hot stove.
Yeah, I feel you
So
now.
I took it as in like, okay, when I withdraw from something, maybe that's the same thing. But then again, I could be wrong.
Yeah, I mean, nah, I think you pretty spot on. Because the somatic responses are something that you pretty much can't control, and a lot of times I'm sure, like when you get into those spaces, like for me, I had when I shut, I had to like back myself out of shutting down slowly over the years. You know what I'm saying? Like realize, like
Hmm.
identifying where you were in that space and just and pushing myself to a point where, all right, I gotta communicate through how I feel. You know what I'm saying? So but the first part of that was that somatic response of stonewalling. You know what I'm saying? It's you shut down,
Yeah.
and you don't. I mean, you can get mad about it, but you ain't going. You know what I'm saying? Like you're triggered and shut down, like you said. You can't control the trigger.
You definitely can't
You know what I'm saying?
until you got to learn them.
Yep, yep. I'm putting the I'm sharing it. If I look like I ain't paying attention, I am. I'm just sharing that we live because the first link got messed up.
I'm doing the same thing, bro.
Oh, word.
I'm over here trying to do the same
No, but I
thing.
think it's a deep topic, bro, and I think it's a real one. So I think we also said we wanted to examine like the benefits of what we say, working out and things like that. Rest.
Hmm.
Let me go back and double check that. You know what I'm saying? We went back. We said we want to talk about the the strategies for managing and preventing suicidal thoughts. No, we ain't say that one. We're gonna have that for next week. Let's hold that one for next week.
Yeah, we're
I
gonna
just
hold that.
peeped that. Yeah. I peeped that. I just peeped that one. We did exploring the impact of childhood trauma on mental health, And then we did self-care practices for maintaining mental well-being, and we're talking about
The role of
mindfulness,
exercise. Oh, we skipped
meditation.
set.
We did 7 too. Oh yeah, you're right. The role of exercise and nutrition and mental health. My bad. You're right. We did.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like I think that's it. Kind of lines up tonight, and it's kind of something you can dig into it personally. It ain't. I wish I could tell somebody else's story to tell us stuff, but unfortunately, I'm the only person that, from my perspective, to kind of relate.
That can do that.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, bro. Like it's weird how when I figured out exactly when I figured out like what happened to me actually impacted me. You know what I'm saying? When I stopped being that, like when I stopped like being man, fuck that. Like I don't care. Like it happened. If I see him again, I can't wait to see. You know what I'm saying? Like so, it gets into that space where you like when you get to an age when you sit and fly like, damn, like that fuck, like that messed me up. Like you go back and feel the initial thoughts on. I went back and felt, huh?
I say you go back and feel like what it felt like in that moment for real, because it's really like you reliving it.
Yeah. But it's weird because then like it ain't even, you don't even have to relive it. You can just be near things that remind you of it, and it's boom triggered. You know what I'm saying? Like you have no choice but to have an awareness towards any sensitivity toward anything in that space. So it made me not be able to chill as a child. That's why I focus so hard now on just relaxing and being calm, because I was always in the space of like aware, high alert, hypersensitivity and hyper alertness, and just pinpointing. Man, like I've always been able to kind of, let me say, I dig into things, right? And it's not even on purpose. It's a somatic response. I dig into things because I have to figure out from different places. I got to figure out what this is, because at one point my ADHD wouldn't allow me to do it. You know what I'm saying? I figured out how to master it. So now I have that space of I got to do this. And now it's also in a space where, all right, I got to figure out how to manage that feeling I was having, because the anger came with that somatically. So even as an adult, bro, we got to a space where like I was triggered being around gay men. You know what I'm saying? Like I would be cool, but I had to. That's something a process I had to work on since probably since I was a late teenager, because like I had family members that was born that I love that you know what I'm saying, that had the same interest in life. So it was just like I couldn't walk through with that hate, and you know what I'm saying, for everybody off of what somebody else did. But that traumatic response, bro, put me in a place where like you don't trust your kids around nobody. You gotta make yourself trust them. You know what I'm saying? Like then when something happens, you feel like super bad about it. It's like a trauma you live with throughout your entire life in different spaces. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like you watching how somebody talking to another little kid, or what can be like you just hyper vigilant all the time, and being in that space where like after without realizing how that molestation messed me up, bro, I didn't realize how hyper vigilant I was. And I never paid attention to people say you dig into everything.
Right.
It's not on purpose. It's just how I've conditioned my mind to keep me safe. You know what I'm saying? Like to make sure, all right, what angle you coming from? Like, if that could have been assumed this way, did it mean like messing with myself in spaces where now that inner child that we've been living with, man, like that I've been living with all my life, you start to figure out, man, that motherfucker feel the same way I did when I was that age. You know what I'm saying? You still you're acting more aggressively and assertive now, and towards the things that, you know, I guess the conflicts and things like that. But outside of that, bro, your first reaction is you get scared, you get shook a little bit. You know what I mean? So, but that fear, that weird fear, bro, I used to couldn't figure out like why I felt so scared back then. When I it wasn't like I was scared of you and I was going to run from you. It was like I was scared and thinking the words like, all right, I'm about to stab your ass. You know what I'm saying? Like, all right, you're gonna try me and I'm gonna have to bang on you. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't nothing like it was just like, all right, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt, and you know, you understand what I'm saying? That makes sense, bro?
Yeah.
Yeah. I hate that. My inner child caused me trauma in weird ways too, because look, I couldn't be myself. You know what I'm saying? Like in that space of growing up as a child. So who I am and who I was and how I operated my core, and guys like that we don't survive. You know what I'm saying? In environments like that. And then the good guys, you know what I'm saying? The nice guys, they get eaten alive in there. So trying to play that balance where like, okay, that's me. I am cool, even kill, even temperature, but I do have an other side, just like everybody else. And sometimes it gets triggered because of the childhood trauma of feeling like people try me. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I've always heard people say like they told me I had bipolar before I was diagnosed because I go from 0 to 100. But very few people knew I would go 0 to 100. And I started to think back, like, man, like I used to be scared of everything, but I wasn't scared. I wasn't running from nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like that. Like I remember my dad had a deer head in a closet, bro. That joint that the eyes would reflect off the light, the little the keyholes in the door, bro. And I was scared, bro. I was probably like 5. But I wasn't scared. I was in the place of, all right, he come this way. We gonna get with him. I'm gonna go fighting, right? So it goes into that space where it was an unnecessary bravery. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it wasn't the place where I was always beating my chest. And or letting somebody know, like, I can let somebody think whatever they want to think. You know what I'm saying? But I know that I have to keep that inner child. I have to keep that inner child within me from raging, because now it has the opportunity to rage, but it has grown man strength and it has grown man wisdom. It has, you know what I'm saying, grown man experience. So that's the battle where that's the battle where I've always felt bipolar. So my particular inner child that I had was, even before I was diagnosed with bipolar, I felt like 2 people. I always felt like in a space where like, it's not in a space where I thought crazy about it, bro. It was like it's a nice guy, and there's this thing in the back that I gotta make sure that I keep under control. And that's why I'm thank God that religion was in my life the way that it was, man, because I when I was young, I learned that God had my back on all this, no matter what I felt. And I learned that some of the things I was reading in the Bible was some of the things like, man, I don't think a demon is something like you see the way they're talking about, but I think it's something else. And then, all right, whatever it is, Lord, protect me from that. What do I got to do for you to protect me from that? Because I feel them lurking. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it was like when you move in that space, but then you have, and you want, it's not that you're green, but you want to see the good in everything, right? You can't grow up in that space, in that environment, what I was trying to say earlier. But so with in that space and being close to it and being out of that space, man, you develop that personality too, if you're smart. Because now you're learning what to move around and how to move around. And it automatically becomes a part of you too, right? But now it's which one is going to do you better? You know what I'm saying? Like, which one is going to benefit you more in life? And I hate that I had to have that battle, because I didn't have that until I realized, like, that after getting molested, after some of the things that I witnessed, it made me put me in a space of defense. So I feel like I've always been that bad person, bro. Like, if I would have actually had to kill somebody back in that age, then they would have been like, Devin, what the fuck? Hell no, not Devin. But they don't realize, like, very people knew that I had the potential to do that, bro. But it was a defense mechanism. But it was always battle with it. I would never want to do that. I'm afraid that it happened to me. I don't want somebody else's parent to miss their kid. I don't want to make somebody else's daughter or their kids miss their parent. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to cause that kind of pain to anybody else, even though what happens, if I'm responding in that way, is probably deserving. So I hate the fact that who I am in my core, my inner child was wounded so bad, bro, that I had to basically put him on ice. And that's where I realized that I had to play tough. I played that tough guy role to nobody, not even tough guy role, bro, but I had to go in that space where I ain't no bitch. You know what I'm saying? I can look like how I look, but I ain't no bitch, because I feel like, my man, what did he see in me at that? Like, what did I give him to let him know that I was gonna be okay? Like, was I not? But do you think I was soft? Did I give off the vibe? I was into that shit or whatever like that. So it put so many different things in my mind that I would have never had a battle with, bro, if that shit never happened to me. Yeah, I put a defensiveness in my life that I would have never had a battle if that never happened to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, and then when you put that type of thing onto what is it, like compounded trauma, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't know what you're gonna create. So I made a video earlier, man, talking about like being tired, right? Like just and being frustrated with God. But it wasn't in a space, of course, like it was in a space of genuine frustration where it was just like, man, like, bro, I've been fighting since a child, and I'm not whining. Like, bro, the shit I had to fight, man, like God, you know what I had to fight, and you know what I overcame, you know what I stepped on. I'm not half stepping this. I'm not playing with you. I might have slid a couple times, but I always repent. I always had a second thought. I always did my entire life since I was a kid. I've came to you and asked you, and I look back and I'm like, okay, none of this makes sense. none of how everything happened makes sense, bro. None of how me getting molested makes sense. How it happened so fast. Me nothing to make sense. Nothing makes sense from a space of like you know what I'm saying? Not like from that place of registering how I built a life around my trauma without even noticing it. You know what I'm saying? That makes sense to
Mm-hmm.
you. So it's like because now like my therapist and I was talking a while back, man, like a couple weeks ago, matter of fact, and she was telling me like she was keeping crazy notes and she connected all this stuff and she was talking about I was talking to her about some things, just conversation. I was feeling good, having a good conversation. It was a good day. We just been talking lately. And like she started put some things together as far as she was like, you realize you built your life around your traumas and your responses. And she pointed out that I how I moved and with like some of the things that I thought was like ED back then. It wasn't. It was a somatic response to feeling uncomfortable after getting molested. And it's in a space where if we ain't vibing like that as male and female, whatever, I wouldn't be ready to go. So I connect that as something was wrong with me, right? Not thinking that that's a natural response to what's supposed to happen. And then you go into a space of like, all right, why am I so protective of my family? And it goes into a space like, all right, well, damn. I swear what this wasn't a dream. I know I feel like I seen like my like I had an altercation with my mom, ended up hitting the wall and like losing her breath. I don't know why it was and but that response of me, man, it triggered something in me where I don't even know when it could have happened. That's probably when I think we were living with my uncle uh after my grandfather had passed away, right? And I just remember a feeling that I got with that, bro. And when I feel like that now, like that feeling come, man, whenever my senses go off. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like all these red flags, all these red alarms go off, and you got to be hyper. You're like hyper vigilant. So I don't know. That makes sense, bro. Or am I rambling?
Nah, bro, you talking? Go ahead.
No, I'm trying to make sure, like, because I don't know, bro. Because I want to make sure I'm communicating properly, as you know, the the damage trauma does to a child, let alone your inner child, right? And we could say there's no way of saying of we talked about the what did we say that was, bro? We stopped from growing. I said it's
Does some you talking about the somatic responses?
not the somatic response, but what causes the somatic response. That place where you that a place where you pause at in life is what was that, bro? Oh my goodness.
The rest of the development,
Yeah, arrested development. And you spent, bro, like that's crazy when I started finding stuff out about that, man, because I always felt like, bro, I realized when I was like, when I first came home from the hospital, maybe in the hospital, I was like, bro, like I felt like I've been living my whole life in jail. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like I've been in prison my whole life and off of my traumas. And like when she connected the trauma from like we talked about we always talk about the relationship like that and things like that with my dad are cool now, you know what I'm saying? But we always talked about the impact the trauma that I experienced in that space had on me as an adult. And right, you know what I'm saying? And then going into the space of realizing that my relationship with my kid's mom, my first love back then, was actually a trauma too. You know what I'm saying? Like so it was, but I interpreted that as a failure for myself because it didn't work. You know what I'm saying? So not interpreting it as it was something that traumatic that happened to me, not in a sense of like weakness or none of that, but like, bro, it messed me up mentally. You know what I'm saying? Like I thought I was gonna spend the rest of my life with that girl. You know what I'm saying? Like so at that age with the mindset that I have, I guess you can call that was the attachment issues that come with a lot of things they say comes with a kid that someone that has experienced trauma as a child. You know what I'm saying?
mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
But yeah, that makes sense.
Uh,
I say yeah, that makes sense. I feel like we all. I feel like see me. I don't know what to call it, but I feel like everybody got childhood trauma, man. We all
Facts.
got it. Ain't nobody out here who had the best child, like the perfect childhood, because you got even if you was rich, you had childhood trauma because 9 times out of 10, if you had rich parents, that means you ain't see them a lot. So then you might got
Yeah.
attachment issues, you got
Yeah.
abandonment, you got neglect. Like
Yeah.
everybody got different traumas, and life is about figuring out, solving those traumas, and sharing your story to help other people.
Yeah, but that's facts. But then you got to put into a place, man, because but it ain't that simple. You know what I'm saying? Like It's because
it ain't that simple, but a lot of times we take the hard path, we take the path that's easiest for us.
Yeah,
versus taking the hard path, because we don't realize that no matter which path we take, it's hard either way.
Yeah, but
if I do nothing, that's hard, because now I'm punishing myself in my mind.
Yeah,
But if I fight through it and I solve the issues that I'm going through, I identify my triggers, I learn how to cope with them, I speak about it, I talk about it, the more and more I do that part, the easier it get. But you have to go through the hard first to get to that point. But
that's the hard part is figuring out that you in it.
The hard part is figuring out you in it. But I feel like at the same time, you in it once you realize that it happened to you, or like once you realize that it happened to you, now you in it.
Yeah, I agree with you, right? But then go into a space, I got raised you in, right? Because you go into a space now where I've been like somebody like me been living in a space of somatic responses that I had no control over. That just naturally happened. I didn't think about doing it. I didn't think about these things just happen, or something that naturally happened. So from the age of like 10 on up, bro, I've been living with this specific type of energy, probably even before 10. You know what I'm saying? I've been living with a heightened energy. You know what I'm saying? Like of whatever it is, of awareness, hypervigilance, whatever. I've been living in a space of high alertness or anxiety. I've been living in an anxiety and a full flight anxiety place where I was moving at everything high speed and trying to grab at everything that was coming my way to make me feel better. And it wasn't even mad. And what's up, Christopher? How you feeling, man? I've been suffering from, man. Is that I put the wrong thing. How you get that joint off? We got the spam. That's why we gotta go ahead and put them joints on there. But nah, man, like it put you in a space. It put you in a space of when you've lived something since a child with this particular energy, right? And now you going through to 30, 35, and you can't figure out like what it is that has you on that you can't figure out exactly what it is. You don't think you're living in a bad space. You just you at this point. You know what I'm saying? Because all this stuff has developed and molded you into who you are now as the thinking adult and the person that has the capability has a fully mature mind. You know what I'm saying? So you're processing things differently. And now when you're processing things, you felt this way all your life. So you don't even feel like somebody that moves a lot. Like you know what I'm saying? Like if I say, bro, you need to chill out, take a day off, you have a whole anxiety attack trying to figure out how you're going to do that. You know what I'm saying? So, but nobody thinks about why you feel that way. You just think that, I'm not going, I don't want to chill. I'm trying to get this. You know what I'm saying? You validate it by saying what it is that you want, not realizing that, bro, like, I spent my life like playing monkey bars. All right, let me get here. I'm going to get there. All right, I'm going to get there. Yeah, it was fucked up, but I'm going to keep going. You know what I'm saying? And keep going. All right. Yeah, I can't read good, but I'm going to show these motherfuckers. I told my son, when I was young and used to get punished for in summer school, I used to like getting punished in the summertime. You know why? I remember the encyclopedias. Bro, I read the encyclopedia. I was punished and enjoyed it. I read the encyclopedia from A to Z twice, bro. You know what I'm saying? Around 11 or 12 years old. So my wife always asked me, like, I never realized that. My wife never asked me, always asked me, like, why you know this weird stuff? Like, how you know all these? It's because of the knowledge that I gained reading those books. But
me too, though.
For real,
them encyclopedia. My grandma had them encyclopedias in her her room. The ones that had different letters, and each book was something different.
Man, them joints, the smell of them, the way the paper felt, bro, the information that was in them, bro, like it was just like it was addictive, man. It was cool, but that was also my escape. Once I started to realize, when I realized like I can get lost in stuff. I get lost in working out. I get lost in reading. I gotta make myself. I have to do everything in moderations. You know what I'm saying? And even moderate your moderations. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I can get obsessively compulsive about some things. So that's my way of balancing it out. And that all goes back to a childhood trauma of not being able to, you know what I'm saying? Like the whole part of having ADHD and not being able to focus. I'm being undiagnosed. And then getting frustrated that you can't get the material, right? And then you go to a space where, all right, I can't get it. I got people fussing at me. My mother's yelling. My father's popping me. I'm still not understanding. I'm gonna just say something random so they can leave me the F alone. I was saying as a kid, like they can leave me alone. Hey, what's 4 + 4? 16. You know what I'm saying? But then, but I got popped for it instead of them thinking, not realizing that I was really trying. You know what I'm saying? And not pick up, and it was things that you missed back then, right? Because it wasn't something that people knew to pay attention to. But that price you pay for it, man, like that anxiety, it always puts you in a space. It put me in a space, bro, of like over like achieving.
But I would take that over a lot of things. Like I would take that kind of energy over what I like dealt with or deal with, because this is more emotional. Like I feel like how I feel is more attached to my emotion. I would love to be able to like super focus on something and then like lose myself like in it, because then I feel like I'll be a lot further than I am, because I'll be able to focus on one thing instead of like trying to split my attention a million different ways.
Yeah, but that was
so like so for you that might honestly be a plus for real, because you can, like you say, you can get lost in the gym. Me, when I work out, I mean, I don't really count the time, but I'm glad when it's over. But like I'm saying, you go in the gym, you working out, you ain't thinking about, oh man, I've been in here for 2.5 hours. You just getting that work in.
I'm just getting out. I'm just processing thoughts, and that's the crazy part about it. Like I'm really fueled off my thoughts. It's in a space where I got to make sure I'm hydrating and feeding my body, because my thoughts will keep me going in whatever I'm doing. So I get lost because that thinking about how to get something done or thinking on something, it kept me from thinking about the negative. It kept me to thinking about the thing that was wrong. You know what I'm saying? So that's that space where I'm telling you, like you don't realize why a lot of us don't realize why we do the things that we do. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of us don't realize that a lot of us don't realize that we've been conditioned to do the things that we've done outside of us that came from something outside of us. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, and it's a force that's 10 times stronger than us. But when you start getting to a space in that process of understanding that you do have that, the hardest part of that process is accepting what happened. Accepting that, I got, like, that's what it is. That's what it was. And being okay with that and being at peace with it, right? But if you study in that space of on a monkey bar swinging to the one next thing, all right, you want to get your life together. Okay, you had kids in between there. All right, let me get the kids together. Okay, let me find love. All right, let me do that. All right, let me show my career going. All right, there's all you going. You constantly swinging from one thing to another, and then before you know it, bro, you tired of them. You know what I'm saying? You done flipped off. I don't even know how you you was weak. You was going with the momentum.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, bro. Like, it's perplexing to me sometimes, especially all of this for real, man, because I've never been like, I've never thought that like your brain was that powerful. I never thought your brain can stop at the age everybody think they grown, but then you realize like, no, bro, I literally stopped in some places at a young age. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then moved into the defense. Of everything I experienced, that felt so.
It's going out. Maybe it's me.
And I think I gotta. How about now?
It's coming. I can
hear
you.
I'm too far away from the router.
Okay.
It's back?
Yeah, it's coming back now.
All right, let me see. I get close to the router on that one.
Let's get it.
I told you. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
All right. When it go out?
Probably like a minute ago.
You had, what the last thing you heard? What you
had? The last thing you said was,
don't even worry about it. I can't
Hey, look, I suck at holding on to last words. Like, cause soon as the thing start freezing, my mind go blank. Like, my mind
That's
went
that
blank.
ADA. That's that ADD. That's that adult ADD.
Hey, bro, like I'm talking about the joint went blank. I'm like, oh, and then like deer in headlights, gone, gone.
Nah, that's cool. No, but nah, bro. Like, look at my phone real quick. It's. Oh my. All right. Now we had that hiccup. Let me just see if I can refocus the conversation because I was getting a little carried away and dragging
Nah,
off
you
in the
was,
wrong space.
you was good, bro. You supposed to go wherever it leads you. You feel me?
Yeah, no, I feel you. But no, like some of the, I think I was trying to bring up the spot, like some of the things that come with childhood trauma, man. You see, like you said, a lot of everybody can. You can say everybody been traumatized that one way as kids. Everybody has something impactful that changed the way they think. Everybody has something they was afraid of. Everybody has something that was done like that changed the way they look. That's how I kind of sum up traumatization, right? That because if you think about somebody being institutionalized, it ain't because they conform into an environment. You know what I'm saying? To be successful in that environment. So a lot of time when you are traumatized, it's not we label it as something like that that can be enabling. It is right, but it's only
Mm-hmm.
enabling. I feel like in certain environments because if you have that in certain spaces, it could work for you. But you got to know how to transition that into a new space. That makes sense. So,
Yep.
like some of the childhood traumas, like we talked about earlier, as far as like emotional dysregulation, hypervigilancy, emotional reactivity, isolation, self-based, self-sabotage behavior, non-emotional experiences, relational control, self, relational control self or others. You can't control yourself. Body memories and attachment problems. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of those things that I just mentioned, like that's some life altering things dealing with one of those, right? Anxiety inducing. You know what I'm saying? Because
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, bro. I don't know if I'm explaining that wrong, right.
Nah, you fine, but I feel like I just identifying, like, get on the path. This is my opinion,
Uh,
and for anybody who may be watching, I feel like the first path is identifying the things that happened to you in your childhood and
yeah,
connecting them to behaviors that you go through today. Like, for example, if you're the type of person that you easily get frustrated,
mm,
then the question you should ask yourself is, why do I easily get frustrated? Maybe you get frustrated when people slam doors.
yeah,
So the
yeah,
question you should answer yourself is, why do I get frustrated when people slam doors? And
yeah,
then if you can't figure it out at top, think about your childhood. What happened in my childhood that made me triggered to door slamming? Maybe you grew up in a house where your parents was arguing and your dad used to
yeah,
slam the door when he left out. So the sound of a door slamming reminds you that your dad is not home. Like,
yeah. But how many
it's
people are
dope.
aware? Like, wait, what's the average age you think somebody realized that that's the issue? Like, what you think on? I know it's some people that probably realize early on, but like, what?
Some people do realize early on. Some people probably realize like later on. I feel like most people, the majority of people, they hit that age when they get the question and stuff, when they get in their midlife crisis.
The
You feel
midlife
me?
crisis. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, bro. Like I didn't, but it don't make sense until you start to get the midlife crisis. You know what I'm saying? That's why I asked because, like, you think you got to understand, and I think I got to understand it now. But I realized that by when I'm 50, it's going to be a different type of understanding, and 60 coming with another different type of understanding. So, but where I am now, understanding, I realize now, like I got most of the stuff wrong back then. What I thought was,
And then I feel like mine came early. Like, I feel like I started figuring things out, like I said, in like the end of my 20s.
okay,
So I feel like it came a little earlier because this is my personal opinion again, always my personal opinion, because my life path, that's what it was meant. It was meant to happen that way.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I feel like everybody's path and journey is unique, but you gotta be, in order to even get on this type of conversations and stuff like that, you gotta be working on yourself, or you gotta put yourself
yeah,
in an environment where you're able to even focus or pay attention or be aware of these kind of things.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
if you just I think people right now, like it's people out here who in their 30s, 40s, they still on the party scene. These
Yeah.
people who are still in their party phase in life and they doing all that, they're going through trauma, but they suppressing it by partying.
I mean, you think
They
it's trauma though? Cause you think some people just enjoy. It could be a
no,
deviation.
no.
It could be a deviation. But either way, you're right. It's suppression. You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. I mean,
At the end of the day, it's trauma. It's coming from something in their life that made them never really grow up. You feel me?
I can see that. I can see that.
But
I can see.
we categorize it as other things because I mean that's what society do. We want to sugarcoat everything, but oh nah, I'm just enjoying my life because life's short and all this stuff. So life's so short that you chose to party for 50 years versus leaving your mark on the world, versus
That's
raising your
facts.
kids the way that they supposed to be raised, versus
That's
teaching the
facts.
next generation to be better than you was. Know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's my mind at.
Yeah.
So
That's
we
facts.
can categorize it however we want to, but at the end of the day, it's BS because you might not admit it because the people who are doing it, they might not even know that they
Yeah.
doing it
Yeah. Yeah.
because they haven't put themselves in the space to pay attention to it.
I got you. That makes sense. I mean, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
In
I
order
mean, I
for
just
me to know that I had been traumatized, I had to start paying attention to my behaviors and my actions. If I never paid attention to why I didn't talk, why I didn't open up, why I was shutting down, why I love being high, why I wanted to do this, why if I never started paying attention to those things, I would have never known I was traumatized. I
so
would have thought I would have been went right back in the mindset I was in before I started doing shadow work, and that's life is just happening to me. I'm just here going through this BS, and then I'm gonna die.
yeah. I mean, but when you in that, like, that's kind of a space that can be a that can be a gray area too, and like, right, and that can be the place that where you kind of go to. I don't know, like
It was a gray area, but in order for it to be a gray area, you got to be able to move out of the gray area and then look back.
but most
If you
people get
stuck
stuck
in
in
the
the gray
gray,
area. You get stuck
if
in
you
the gray
stuck in,
area.
if you stuck in the gray area,
And
you would never
the
see
gray
it.
area is meant, like I said, I put that in the post the other day when we was talking about that gray area, man, is meant for you to cleanse it, to cleanse and get ready for, the part that you feel inside you that you really want in life. You know what I'm saying? The part
Mm-hmm.
that if you didn't suppress, what I'm saying, what you were dealing with, or you didn't deviate from it or something like that, like what would you be accomplishing then? You know what I'm saying? What would your purpose look like then? What would your sense of life look like? What would be your sense of satisfaction in that state? You know what I'm saying? That's the part where, man, it made me like even when I realized that my suppression and my deviation was in weed. You know what I'm saying? Like I can shake anything else stop, but the only thing I can do is not fully get away from weed for an extended period of time, right? So that's been a space where I realized that damn, like why do I smoke? I was the last person to smoke. Everybody knew me. You know what I'm saying? I was the last person to start
Mm-hmm.
drinking. Like, why do I enjoy it so much now? And without realizing the type of realizing that space, or realizing even where you are, you look at that as a space of, oh, I feel good right now. I'm gonna enjoy it and get back to business. You know what I'm saying? Let me smoke. It starts off at for me it didn't start off as let me go smoke and watch TV. It started off at let me go smoke so I can get some sleep for this shift I got in 4 hours. So I want to get as heavy a sleep as I can. I done worked 16 already. You know what I'm saying? So it came in that space of allow me to shut my body down and get some sleep. But then it also became a place of relaxation for me. You know what I'm saying? So but even then, even when today, the way I feel when I feel like I felt today, right? As far as just frustrated with God and impatient and feeling bad because you're feeling like that. You know what I'm saying? Like that when I think about am I tripping or am I not? Like no, I have every right to feel that way, and I know now why I moved the way I move. And I know now that it's not a bad thing. I just have to learn how to use it in a way and control it properly. You know what I'm saying? But that what I showed today in that video it's a transparency that I feel like God asked me to show in this process because I don't have it figured out yet, right? So that's why tonight I would like to do the shadow work on the show tonight. What you got?
That feeling, this just came to me though. Like this thought, that feeling, and it only came to me for real because I kind of went through a little bit of this last night, and I'm probably gonna get a little bit more of that out tonight because I still feel it burning inside of me. That feeling of frustration is coming from a place that needs to be healed. Like, so when you feel that burning, like inside of you, like that frustration, like, why am I going through this? That's when you really need to release your feelings. That's when you really need to, that's the moments where you need to cry. You gotta cry. Yeah. That's when you're gonna start spitting out stuff like, I'm giving it all. Like you getting that weight off your shoulders. And once you cry and let that out, then you able to look, see, then you gotta shake back, you gotta wipe the tears.
Yeah.
All right, now what I'm gonna do about that moving forward. And that's where the growth comes in after that. Like, but as men, I know a lot of times when we get to that point of that frustration, we push it further inside versus letting it out because we don't want to show our emotions. But that's why we get to them boiling points like that. But it's healthy to let it out.
It ain't even like, it's healthy to let it out, right? But in the sense of like, it's not even. I mean, I think that's something that's sacred to men too, right? To us, in a space where that's like a lot of us would rather not share that side of it, to be honest. You know what I'm saying? But that's in a space of, I agree with you saying. It's a hard space to realize, bro. When you don't realize, you know what I'm saying, when you condition yourself, you set a goal so far and say, I'm gonna go buy this house, go buy this, and like, oh, that's gonna be good, right? And then you get all the way to that space and you figure out, like, oh shit, that wasn't it. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't attach ourselves to how we feel. We attach ourselves a lot of times to what we got to get done, and you know what's going to make us feel better. Not realizing
that's why you got to cut it off. You got to cut that off.
But a lot of people, that's the part that most people can't cut off. That's the part that's the attachment that most people. That's the attachment that people carry. That it's not even. That's not even really what they feel. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it's because that's the same kind of thing as getting attached to the rat race, bro. Like, you get stuck in this rat race trying to, I need to do this, I need to do that. If I ain't married by this age, I'm gonna be lonely. If I don't get this, I don't get that, I ain't successful. If I gotta move back home with my parents, I'm a bum. Like, it's society puts us in this box instead of us focusing on, like you said, how we feel and our passions and what we need to do to be better people ourselves. We focus on the outside.
Yeah.
And that's the furthest thing away from what we need to be doing. We need to be focused. But in order to even get anywhere near that, you gotta work on yourself. Because you can't know what you like, what you dislike, if you don't even pay attention to the things that harm you or make you feel a certain type of way. If you don't know what triggers you, then how are you gonna know when love smacks you in the face? How are you going to know that you're passionate about something if you don't even pay attention to something that frustrates the hell out of you?
Because I think that's a defense mechanism, man. People, like I said earlier, that defense mechanism is so somatic that they just, I take that as that's my what do they call it? My intuition. I'm gonna go with it. So if I don't like you, I don't like you. That ain't saying because now it's saying they say I don't know you, but I don't like you, right? Because I offer how you make me feel. But you're not thinking off of, damn, why I don't like you off of, why do I feel like that? You know what I'm saying? Like, what do I remind you of?
It's only two things that gonna make you feel that kind of way about somebody.
What's that?
For one, it's either you got, what's it called, repressed feelings like of this person make you remind you of somebody, or either this person just got bad energy. Sometimes people just got bad. But in order for you to know whether this person got bad energy or if it's coming from you, you got to be able to pay attention to yourself. You got to be able to know where you coming from. Because if you moving out of space of love and you moving out of space of kindness and you know who you genuinely are, then it's easy to know the people around you and what their intentions are. But
Not
if
really.
you not, but if you holding a bunch of hate and resentment in your heart that you don't know about, anybody can come around you. It's people right now on jobs that I used to work at who like they are so bitter. I come in there and speak, like, hey, how you doing? How you? Some people don't like happy. Like it's some people are Grinches, they Scrooges, they don't even like happy, and they don't even know why. It's people that
No, that's
don't like
true.
you just because you're you. So
Yeah, yeah.
that's kind of what I'm saying. Like if you
So my
don't
thing is
know,
like, so exactly that's what I'm saying. So people don't like you because you are you. Can you hear my breaking up still?
I mean, you know, you good.
Okay. Like they don't like you because, but where does that? How do they relate that? It's not always bad energy, like you said. Some people just don't like you because like they don't know. Like, so what have they experienced historically or didn't experience that got you feeling that way? You know what I'm saying? Like that have you responding that's a somatic response, and it's a somatic response as well because it's like I don't like
But that's their problem. You feel me? That's their problem.
No, I agree.
And that's what I had to learn is you can only be you. You can only be accountable for what you can do and what you can control. You can't control nothing on the outside of you. So if I tell you, if I walk past you and I say, hey, how you doing? And you don't speak to me, I already did my part.
No, that's
I
fact. That's
already
fact.
I done already did my part. So, but me being me, I used to then be this way where I would keep speaking to you because you got one time to blow me off and then you duct tape. You feel me? But now it's like, hey, how you doing? Hey, how you doing? I'm gonna do it every day. Eventually, you gonna either crack, but I ain't gonna change who I am because of you. So just because you ain't speak to me, I'm gonna ball up when I see you now. Now I'm holding on to that energy that you had.
Yeah, fact.
You see
I
what I'm
mean,
saying? I
yeah, but
can't let
well,
what's on the outside of me change how I feel about myself and how I carry myself because that's what they mean when they say energy jumps from person to person. How many times have you been having a good mood and you run into somebody and they having a bad day and they vent to you and now you feel those sad emotions because they done attacked you, they done jumped on you, and now you carrying it. That's the same thing when you watch the news and you see somebody done died or you see somebody commit suicide or you see
that's
when you
fact.
see sad, depressive news, it makes you feel sad and depressed because those emotions have jumped on you.
Yeah, that's fact. That's fact.
Or you could
But
be feeling sad, or you could be around somebody that's happy and they like, come on, boy, like they crack a little joke or whatever, and then you smiling because that person don't pick your mood up.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
what they mean when they say energy jumps from person to person. But it all goes back down to if you're not aware of yourself, you will never know. You will never
yeah.
know. So don't focus on them people. Like be you. And at the
Fact,
end of the
fact.
day, I can't sit here and I could, but ain't no need to stress myself out about it. Why I'm gonna stress myself out about it? Because why this person don't talk to me? Why this person won't respond to me? I'm like the nicest person in the world. Now I'm questioning myself because this person didn't speak to me.
Yeah,
Whole
yeah,
time
yeah.
this person ain't going through something that's traumatic in their life where that's why they won't speak.
Yeah, that's
So
fact. I can see that.
so I can't control what happened, what don't happen. What I can't worry about what I can't control. You feel me? Now, if this person, now if I say, okay, this person ain't speak to me in the next day or the next time, I'm like, is everything okay? Everything going on? And then they open up and then I find out why, then it's different. Then I can help this person. But if
Yeah,
they
yeah,
just shut down every time hey, how you doing? Or is everything okay? And they don't say nothing, I gotta wash my hands of you
yeah, yeah, yeah.
because I can't allow your emotions and your feelings and how you feel to jump on me. So I'm gonna do my part. Hey, how you doing? Is everything okay? No response. Cool. Walk away.
Yep. Yeah, true. But
And
think
that's a
about it.
hard part too. That's hard too, though. A
I'm
lot
about
of
to
times
say.
people have a hard time walking away from people because sometimes it's the people you closest with that you got to
Yeah,
walk
yeah,
away
facts,
from.
facts. Yeah, yeah. And again, that attachment issues, I have you in the space of where you're going getting validation from. You know what I'm saying? Like, all right, once I get that, then I got the validation that you get the validation that you need that you were looking for. But that
Mm-hmm.
person's not going to crack. And meanwhile, you like you said, you're putting yourself in a position to constantly get ragged on, stepped on, and all that other stuff. So, but it's I
And
think
then
that's
that's when that's what that further perpetuates our trauma because now we feel like everybody out to get us, everybody out to hurt us. But really, in actuality, we keeping ourselves in that environment because we refuse to remove ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, because it's hard because our brains are in a space. I feel like right, like our brains are programmed in particular to do some things always, right? What we created this environment to be, our brains can't fully function in this the way it's supposed to. So I do believe, man, like a lot of that stuff is self defense from the body, right? To protect you. That's the way. Well, okay, I like you may not even remember why you respond that way, but you may remember that somebody may like I don't know, like you can't remember, you may not remember why you respond that way, but you may respond overly aggressively in that situation. And then you think about it from your perspective, you're responding in a space where you won that situation because you're defending yourself. You just back whatever you needed to off out of your space, right? So if somebody responded to you they're used to they've been traumatized by God speaking to them or whatever it was, whatever experience they got you in the space of not speaking to a God whenever speak to you, right? Yeah, disrespectful on the end of thinking about like, damn, like that's fucked up. But then, what could that person have experienced that have them react in that way in communication? You know what I'm saying? What are they protecting themselves from? You hear me?
I feel, yeah, I heard you. I feel like sometimes that comes from pride, bro. I feel like a
It,
lot of it's pride and ego.
a lot of it is. A lot of it is. But I
You
mean, but
know why? Because why, as people, do we feel the need to? Why do we feel the need to defend ourselves? Why I can't? Why if I can't control what goes on the outside of me? If I say what I gotta say, you say what you gotta say, and I can't change your mind, you can't change my mind. Why are we still going back and forth? Why are we still angry at each other? Why are we not speaking to each other now just because our opinions are different? I see people arguing in people comments all day online. And I used to be one of them people like, no, that you wrong, you wrong, you wrong. Is this, is that,
perspective is
is
perspective.
you wrong.
Yeah,
But perspective is perspective. And I've got to a point where I learned to respect other people's perspective because you will get to a point where you're going back and forth with somebody and now you mad
yeah,
because you can't be that dumb. Like that you really mad. I'm transparent. So yeah, I get to a point like you can't be that dumb. Like you really believe that. And I just sat here and broke it down to you like boom, 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 boom. But you got to realize some people just can't comprehend, and everybody's not going to understand you. This is why my clothing brand is called Esoteric, only understood by a select few. Everybody is not gonna understand you. I had
yeah,
to
yeah,
drill that into my head, like, okay, it's okay. If this person don't understand me, it's fine. Because
yeah,
guess
yeah,
what? For every one person that don't understand me, it's 10 more over here. But I'm so focused on the ones that don't understand me, I can't even see the ones that do.
yeah. It could be it. Donna. Hey, Donna. I missed that one. I'm sorry. Donna says it also could be a coping mechanism. Now I agree. I do agree that it could be a coping mechanism, and what we cope with is usually our safety, right?
Yep.
Man, this daggone lag is throwing me off tonight, bro. Big time.
You remember that with me a couple weeks ago?
This joint, I can't even get through a whole thought process without getting thrown off. But I'm trying my best. But no, like it could definitely also, it can also be it can most definitely be a coping mechanism, man. And but like I said, it's a complicated thing to me because it's like that thing is so perplexed that you having that type of aggression may have protected you from something. You responding that way may have actually saved you from something throughout that space. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I understand it, and I understand why there are a lot more people out here who don't feel like it's a problem because that's what has been saving their ass all these years. And in their mind, they don't know it's no other difference. You know what I'm saying? So, it's it's just I don't know, man. Like it's weird because like it goes like the concept I can think of, man, is seeing that good kid turn into a stone cold killer. You know what I'm saying? Like and like from a certain environment. You know what I'm saying? Like so you get into that space where you know this person, you've grown up with them, you know their heart, you know that you know what feeds them, but then you also understand where that flip happened at, right? But then you also like, damn, like it's really that powerful to where you don't think about it. It's a somatic response. This is what you gotta do to save your ass now. This is how you gotta move to save you. This is how you gotta move and real.
Go ahead.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so, like, yeah, I definitely agree with you from your viewpoint, but I also like it's just too. It's just because you can't, like, I don't know, like it's like coming when somebody gets when a woman gets sexually assaulted. You know what I'm saying? Now every time with their boyfriend to touch them, they don't know that they're not saying they don't love their boyfriend or like their boyfriend. They don't want them to touch them. They're now responding this way because now they get so triggered by whatever that they automatically respond in that way. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like some of the stuff makes sense. So it's hard to kind of talk yourself away from out of a process that has been caused by trauma because whatever caused that was such a heightened trauma that it caused you to redirect your entire life around that space or move in that particular way. That makes sense.
It most definitely do. It most definitely do. That's why I say everybody got their own. Everybody got their own traumas that they went through in their life, and everybody's path is unique for them. But I feel like the quicker, I ain't gonna say the quicker because it's not really no timeline on how you deal with trauma, but you gotta actively be working towards healing from your trauma. You can't once you know that something bothered you, you can't just ignore it moving forward because now you have to put in the work to try to figure out how you can get over it. And what happens is I understand that some people go through horrible situations and they feel like nobody understand them and they get stuck in this gray area where it's like they gonna just do whatever they can to push that memory as far back down inside their mind as they can. But that don't do nothing for you moving forward.
Yeah.
The only thing that can help you moving forward is addressing it. And a lot of times that's the biggest problem we have, and that's addressing our trauma. That means looking it in the face, saying, I see you. Like looking in the mirror, like, yes, I was such and such as a child. This happened to me. Yes. Yes, it made me feel blah, blah, blah. For years, I was angry. Da, 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 da. Now that I know that that affected me and how I turned out as an adult, what can I do to heal from that moving forward? Now you change your thought process because now it's not life happened to me. Now is okay, life happened for me. Because now I'm focusing. Now my attention is not on the past. My attention is focused on the solution. You have to change, you have to redirect until you able to redirect your attention from that happened to me to what I'm gonna do about it. You're gonna forever be stuck there.
Yeah, facts.
And that's the biggest part of dealing with the child that's inside of you. You have to be able to look at that inner child. Look in the mirror. I remember for years, I couldn't look myself in the mirror, bro. Yeah. I would walk past the mirror and cut my eye the other way just so I didn't get a glimpse of myself because I didn't like the person that I had turned into.
Yeah.
So I know how I feel. I actually looked in the mirror one time, like some years ago, and I hadn't even realized I had grew a full beard, bro. I swear.
I know I'm laughing because I know what you mean, though, bro. I understand that.
I swear, I looked in the mirror like, dang, boy, you grown now. Like, you grown. Like, you ain't no kid no more. Like,
like yeah. No, that's funny, bro.
You a whole big grown man. You a whole big grown man now. You ain't no child. So why am I still allowing the things that I went through as a child to bother me, to like hold me back, hold me hostage? And I still didn't deal with it right then. When I said that to myself, I still kept living my life the way I was until, like I said, a few years ago, when I actually decided to start doing shadow work, start trying to figure out what happened to this child. You feel me? Inside of me. Yeah. And like I said, I started. I thought I was good, and now I'm to a point where stuff's still coming up. So it's like, all right, this is something that I'm gonna be working on. At the same time, I'm trying to figure out what I'm gonna do with my life. I can't neglect one to focus on the other. They have to be done at the same time because one fuels the other. The more and more I focus on healing my inner child, the more and more I clear my mind and focus on the future. Because I can never focus on the future fully if I'm constantly dealing with the traumas of my past.
But so that's the part where like that's the part where like getting to know yourself too really comes in the space of I don't think you can learn it by focusing on anything near the future, right? I think I personally think that when we handle it, we talk it's, I think the way we move with the future is wrong, right? Because really like that, like the future isn't guaranteed. The only moment that's guaranteed is the moment right now, right? So I believe like honestly, like as far as like, all right, you can have a generalized idea of what you want to do in the future, right? But then you do these things every day that's going to lead you to that space if your future comes into play that you get, you know what I'm saying? Like so that's the part where like
but that's when you see if you stuck right there, then that means you're still holding on to your trauma. Because
like in the present or
I know if you that not knowing, of course the future isn't promised. We already know the future ain't promised. But you definitely should set your sights to the future.
No, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Acknowledge it, right? But I don't think that like living and the way I'm expressing it isn't trauma. The way I'm expressing it is realizing that because some trauma lessons are needed, right? Like realizing that, like me realizing that somebody I grew up with who's no longer here, that like damn, that's a reality. You know what I'm saying? Like so realizing that, so I'm not going to give up now, right? Unless I'm gonna make sure I enjoy it right now. I'm gonna make sure I'm enjoying the hell out of it right now. Make sure I'm present in the moment. Make sure I'm taking everything in. Making sure I'm looking at all right. But each effort I do every day is going to lead me to what that vision is that I have, right? Because I think the trauma part of it for me, man, was having this particular vision, right? Doing everything and putting everything I could to get there, and then that plan falling apart. That's all I knew. All I knew was pharmacy back then. You know what I'm saying? So now I got to go outside of that. Like I was having a hard time because it was just like, I don't know nothing but that. I've been doing pharmacy since I was 19, 20 years old. You know what I'm saying? So I think when you get into that space, you learn that I feel like, bro, you cannot shape life. I feel like what we emphasize on passing down for generational wealth, I think that it's over magnified when we just talking. I think the money aspect of it and pursuing your goals are over magnified, right? And I'm not saying that space in a space where I don't agree with it. I'm saying that in a space of like, man, look at our economy right now, bro. It ain't no guarantee anything that we've been taught to use back then, anything that's been effective for us is going to do us any good for our kids. You know what I'm saying? Moving forward, they're not going to have the same problems that we had because we ain't had the same problems our parents didn't have, and our parents ain't had the same problems that grandparents have. So I think that trauma space of trying to like, yeah, you got to prepare, you got to stuff yourself, and you got to get ready for that storm, right? You got to make sure you can survive. But what is survival really? What is survival really? You know what I'm saying? Like, what does that look like to the average person?
That's different. Survival for every person is different.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So like survival for us is different living in I guess a rural, not a rural area, but a metro type of area versus somebody who lives in rural southern Maryland. Mm-hmm. Our access to care. If I break my leg falling the steps, I can call an Uber and get there in 10 minutes. But if somebody break their leg in rural Maryland somewhere, bro, they gotta call a whole life flight, or they gotta wait a couple of days before they can get access to health care. So when I talk about these things, man, I say a lot of it a lot of things that we go through are trauma induced because our brain has no other way of responding to it other than what it knows. But ultimately, man, how things started up, we weren't. I think being civilized causes a lot of issues. Because now being civilized, you have standards and rules, right? Now everybody's trying to fit into this one. All these different personalities are now trying to fit into this small box. And now we're putting force into a situation in a society where, all right, we got to chase money to survive, right? But then just think about what it was in the 50s and the 40s, bro, the 60s. Like they were growing their own food. You know what I'm saying? Like they were going to the local farmers market or had, you know what I'm saying? Like to grab that stuff. And think about how
in order to get away from that, it all goes back to focusing on you.
But how do you do that? How do you do that in a world that's keeping you distracted in every way from figuring that out?
You got to break away from them distractions. That's the same thing with anything. If something is a distraction to you, then you cut it off.
So
Simple.
what? So
It's
how would you
hard.
say?
It's definitely hard because I mean I might cut off one distraction and then here come two more. So I'm not disowning the fact that I'm not saying that it's easy. I'm just saying you have to work every day towards like overcoming those things because I might I might get a alert on my phone and then these phones, boy, they got this thing. It's called nudging.
What's
When
that?
your
Oh yeah,
phone
yeah.
go
On
off,
TikTok.
like apps, period. Where like if
Okay.
you ain't been in your app in a while, it'll send you an alert or something. Like somebody like your video,
Oh yeah,
somebody
yeah,
like
yeah,
your
yeah.
post, or you haven't checked in with us in a while. Everything okay? Oh, we running a sale. Come do this. Come check us out. Come 40% off, 50% off, 90% off. Like I'm just like this how they get your attention. Like it keeps you distracted, and then you once you pick the phone up, you already know. Look at it. What? I ain't know such and such had text me. Yeah, you text such and such back. Close that. Well, let me check Instagram right quick. What? 30 likes. Okay, that's cool. Let me swipe this on. Let me check TikTok. What? That's a funny video. Swipe. 15 minutes don't pass. You don't watch 15 videos. Then you stuck because you got distracted. You went from one distraction to another. Like, so
So I'm a
I'm in the
chat.
process. This is coming from a place of me right now. So like I can be transparent about it. Like, so then when I catch myself doing it, I'm like, I almost gotta throw the phone away from my hand, like, get away. You feel me?
Yeah.
You know how many days I spent trying to complete one task? Sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, so that's the part. That's the part I'm trying to bring attention to. Right? Is that even though you know that, right? It's still almost impossible to know who you are in that space. And the reason I'm saying that is not to minimize anything. That's same for me too. We're designed to worry about so much in society that we gotta do certain things that require a certain amount of time out of our day, which requires a certain amount of our focus, which deems us from being able to focus on truly who we are and how we move and what we think in life, right? It's designed that way. It's been designed that way since the Industrial Revolution. It's been designed that way since slavery. We were born here to work. You know what I'm saying? Like, so when you're in that space, like, it's hard for us to get to a space of understanding to relax our traumatic, somatic responses because it's something that you can control, right? And then you get to a space of now you got now you got to this space, but now you realize that you can only calm a certain part of your life to figure out a certain portion of who you are now, right? Because even you can only spend so much time doing shadow work before up at night before it impacts your work day at work the next day or your business and things like that. But take away from this space of looking at how somebody lives now in rural North Carolina in a small black town that shuts down, everything shuts down by 8 o'clock. Stores by 7 o'clock, by 5 o'clock even PM. Think about how they live versus how we live. Think about what they worry about versus what we worry about. Think about the pressure of time that we feel versus what they don't feel. You know what I'm saying? Like so it's it's hard for us. It's hard for all of us to do it, bro. Because if you were going to do that space, bro, you would have to sit down at least 3 of the things that you got going on to bring you money that you need to make your for you to survive every day. You know what I'm saying? Like, so a lot of that time is taken up to where if you got to where you are now with the time you were allowed to think about where you are and doing your shadow work, bro, imagine if you had the luxury of just that time to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? And that's the part where I'm not knocking it. I just realize it just sucks. In society that we let it get to a point where we were all chasing riches versus, you know what I'm saying, what was the most important part of it. You know what I'm saying? Like it was you getting back to the space of community, getting us back to a space of working together, partnerships and things like that. We got to a space where we have to deal with a lot of things alone. And we have to have these defensiveness and these red flags to let us know there's something going wrong because we live in a world where, bro, so much ain't right. So I used to hate that part of me where I feel like I wanted to hurt somebody, right? But then I also realized like I was blessed to have the part of that love so much. You know what I'm saying? I have the heart that I have. It took me years to get to a space to learn how to balance that, right? And I always feel like I had to choose one. And especially in that space. So my traumatic
You
experience.
do.
Huh?
You do,
You know
bro.
what I'm saying?
No, you do have to choose one. You can't balance
You
it.
have to choose one. So that was my battle. I didn't want to choose. I don't want to choose. I
you
really
say you
did.
didn't want to choose one. You wanted to balance.
Yeah, I did. I wanted to move in a space that felt comfortable for me, and choosing one of them, which wasn't me. I don't like not liking people. I don't like feeling out the worst. I don't like feeling aggressive, having to feel aggressive toward anybody. You know what I'm saying? So when but then I'm justified off of how I feel because I've seen somebody get killed. I've seen people minding their business and get hit. You know what I'm saying? Like I've seen
But you gotta move away from that though. Like
no, you can't. You can't because if you move away from that, no, I'm not saying you sit there and you marvel over it and you look at it and you dissect it.
No. I ain't talking about that either. I know exactly what you're saying. You saying
I'm
you
saying
gotta
like, bro,
stay there because it's like a defense mechanism that keep you safe. You feel me?
And that's what keep your head on the swivel. You can be chilling and have your head on the swivel.
That's
you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like so. It's all in what you've conditioned to do and how you've been taught to survive. So I can get in the car, bro, and look all directions. I can drive and look the mirror, play the mirrors all day long, right?
I'm gonna do that anyway.
but that's what I'm saying. That's like somebody coming to you and saying, "Bro, look in the mirror." You like what?
Hey, but bro, see, hold on. But now I'm gonna tell you something though, because I had a situation where I had to go get my tags renewed or whatever. And once I got my tags renewed, I stopped looking over my shoulder like that, bro. I only used to look over my shoulder like that because I had a fear of getting pulled over.
So, but true. So you got that phobia, right? But there's another phobia where, bro, like when you grow up and you know certain things, you know the patterns on what people following you. You know how to see, you know how to spot certain things when somebody creeping on you. You know, you always got your head on the swivel to a place.
You always got them little nuances that are attached to you from a child just because of what we grow up around.
Or what we seen, you know what I'm saying? So it's like it's not always it's not always bad, right? But and it's not always unhealthy trauma response. But like you said, I don't even think that, and for a trauma response, you got to get to know yourself. I think you just got to get to the basis of why you feel the way you feel. Like, why did I jump? Why did I, you know what I'm saying? Like, why did I just jump? Why I respond like that? Damn. Or when we get to a space like that, yeah, I was tripping. Like think further, how were you tripping? All right, what did you misinterpret? All right, like were you know what I'm saying? Like getting to a space of making it make sense versus trying to heal it. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times you're gonna need that. It's like, okay, you may not need to play your mirrors in Colorado in the Rocky Mountains somewhere, right? But then you do gotta play when you're in the hood in your local urban city. You know what I'm saying? Like so it's just you may be able to speak to everybody in one part of town, but then it's another side of town, bro. You don't say shit. You be less of, you know what I'm saying, noticeable as possible. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't bring no attention to yourself. It's just some trauma responses are actually healthy, but like the ones that have you in the space of like the traumatic responses, like I said earlier, for me, like I can tell you why I respond. Like I think in the past I would get frustrated with myself that I react to that space in private because I'm like I couldn't figure out why I thought I was overreacting, right? But then getting to a space where I am now and being able to process like where I'm not tripping. This is why I act that way. All right, I've been looking for a job forever. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then you get to a space where I should have took this one when it came along. Like I should have did this instead of doing that, or I should have did this and that. And then it's like you start to beat yourself down in a space where you just like, and then but you're moving in the right space. You know, you're doing everything you can to kind of make things work, right? But me getting to a space of understanding, like, no, my frustration is showing me, talk through that, get through that, and say, no, I'm not in a space of severe depression. I'm not in a space of, for instance, I'm frustrated as fuck right now, bro. And anybody else would be in my situation. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it was in that space of it was in that space of me understanding, like, all right, I'm not just going to sit here and feel this. I'm working out again, so let me just go ahead and think through how I feel real quick and bang this workout. You know what I'm saying? I ran 5-4 corners before I made that video. I ran 5-4 corners and jogged around the entire soccer field one time before I had the energy to sit down and figure out how I felt. So that's what I'm telling you, like, bro, a lot of people don't have that time to do that because now you start that work. And now you got to go home and get the kids. And now you got to go feed your mother. You got to take care of your mother. Now you got this. Now you're dealing with this thing that's coming up because what's going on right now reminds you of what happened in the worst case scenario back then. So now in your mind, you got the new situation facing you that looks real familiar. You don't know how it's going to happen yet, but the only thing you can relate it to is that extreme event that happened back then. you're gonna think of things the worst. So it's hard to sit down and calm yourself sometimes without by yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like it took me medication to get to a point to be able to slow life down and pride. It took me going into the hospital, bro, and getting into the psych ward and them shutting me out of reality for almost 6 days to be by myself and to talk about how I felt. That's not something that you can sit here and pick up. You know what I'm saying? Like when you get in that high space where you see things happening, when you see people getting killed, and we're like some stuff, bro, like you put yourself into knowing the consequences, not realizing that consequences can come true. But there are also some situations where you get into, bro, where you just fucking snap. And you don't know why you snap all the time. Mm-hmm. And then when you go to jail, and then you hear a lot of you going to jail and think about, damn, I feel bad I did that. Why did you know you did it? Because number one, you was in a state of psychosis that came from whatever trauma that you've been holding on for all these years, and that grandfather had, and all these things you seen your father do, and things you heard about your great grandfather. Now you're looking at you. All this is I'm the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Like so, that childhood trauma is complex, and that inner child that we have is not as simple as it was when we were a child. There's way more pieces to that thing now. You know what I'm saying? Like so, it's pretty. Like I always question myself, bro. I'm like, damn, like bro, like if I know what I know, what could I would have done if I wasn't moving in a state of trauma? What were with the things that I'm interested in, the things that I'm interested in naturally, I can sit down and tell you how the economy works from each level and tell you how it impacts what. I can tell you how finances work. I can tell you how nature works. I can tell you if we had to go out here and go buy some land and we can't depend on, I can go out here, we can nurture some land and get some livestock going and we can survive. You know what I'm saying? I can shoot a crossbow. I mean, I can shoot a gun since I was 9 or 10 years old. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like, what could I have done with that if I didn't get molested? If I didn't get to a space of, you know what I mean? Like it's not a bad thing. It's not always trauma to go back to wonder or whatever, because sometimes you wonder like, man, that's for real. That's how you find yourself, because that's how you find out what you are, what you like, what you're into.
I like where you're going. I like, and I agree with you. But change the question, because instead of what if, what can? Because because as long as you're here, it's still time to do that. You feel me?
But not really.
And maybe that's part of you going back to see what it is that you like. Because that's how I found out. That's how I even got led to anywhere near what I felt my purpose was. I went back and I started thinking about what I used to do. How I even ended up writing a book, because I literally went and thought back to elementary school, me doing them little essay contests, like for fun. When all the other kids was outside playing, I'm sitting here trying to write a little essay, stapling it together, and I'm typing it up. I'm getting ready to do. I'm doing stuff like that. I'm doing the little short story essays for school. So that told me like, okay. Then I used to love reading, so I'm a big reader. So now I got back. Like I said, I was reading books. I got back into reading, like just picking little stuff like that. What have I always been good at since a child? Since I was coming up, I always been a comforter. I always been a comforter, even since I was little, wiping tears off my mama's face when I was 1 and 2 years old. I'm crawling in the bathroom, picking tissue, crawling in my mama's room, crawling on her bed, wiping her face because she crying over something that she going through. Like, I've always been that person. I've always been that friend in my social circles where people come to me and say, well, boy, I need to holler at you. Let me talk to you. I'm that one that sit and listen to them, give them advice without judging them. So once I started putting all these pieces together, I'm like, okay, that's who I am. That's the person I am. So it led me in the direction of, okay, your life is meant to be used to help other people. And now that's when I stopped looking at the trauma as a bad thing. And I started looking at it as it was meant for me to go through the things I went through in order for me to help certain people on this path that I'm on.
So that's funny you said that, right? Because it took me back to a sermon I heard earlier today where it was like, and that's based in the way you just said it, like that he described that as a person being just effective, right? And just doing enough, just doing enough. But then he was talking about how God called you to do so much more. But sometimes we get caught up in let me just do enough and let me just be effective, that we forget that we can be impactful and
Exactly.
world changing, and you know what I'm saying, like
And that's
doing
how
things.
I feel. Like I feel like bro, you know, sometimes I'd be like, boy, like I'm trying to reach the world with what we doing and what I do and whatever like that. Like that's how I feel. I want to be impactful. My focus is nowhere near the money.
Yeah,
I Of course I want to be successful. Of course, I want to make money. Of course, I want to be comfortable. But that's not what my vision is. My vision is how many people can I help before I leave this earth? My vision is how many people need to hear my story? How many people need my advice? How many people need me to encourage them on a daily basis? How many people need inspiration? How many people stuck in darkness right now and need a little bit of light just to make it through their day? That's what my mind at right now. But I would have never got to that point. Is go back to focusing on that inner child
yeah,
because
yeah,
I never knew that what I went through was for somebody else's good, not my
yeah.
own.
So that's that part where like that's the part where none of us really escape that gray area. You know what I'm saying? Because
Oh, you can escape it, but
no, I'm saying no.
it takes time.
I'm not saying that. Now, like none of us really escape that gray area without coming out scratched up.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
you're gonna be
you know
scratched
what I'm
up
saying? Like so,
because you got
when
to
you
fight your way
like,
up out that thing.
you know what I'm saying? Like so, when you see somebody, a lot of people killing themselves in the gray area, and it's a lot of times it's stuck to a space where they're attached to what's on the other side of that they're shedding. You know what I'm saying? That they're supposed to get away from, but you can't because this is how you've been taught to survive your entire life. You know what I'm saying? Like you, if how somebody responds, it's like having a dog. You come grab my
No,
dog, one of my dogs, you run up on them, and you pet them, they're gonna get happy, right? They're gonna wag their tail, they're gonna jump on you, the average person, right? But then you got, let me take somebody else's dog who's been had their backs pinched and over again to make them mean and their muzzles grabbed, and you're gonna get a totally different reaction if you run up on that dog. You know what I'm saying? And that dog isn't wrong now for responding to you in that way because it's been conditioned to survive in that way.
right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like with everybody. That's why when I look at survival, man, that's what I base it off of. It's an innate, and it's what is that? Innate
Mm-hmm.
response. And it's a somatic response to where you ain't thinking about what you got to do. You just know you got to survive. So you're doing one thing to another. You ain't thinking clearly. You're not focused on anything. So think about as a society how many of us are in a space of survival and don't even realize it. Now you got
And that
bro, you got people over $600,000 a year making a living check to check. We are all in survival.
and that's why you got to get out of survival mode.
But
You got to.
how do you do that in an environment that requires you to survive? Is what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying?
You gotta. I mean, like I
You got,
said, my answer for that question might not be your answer
you know, I
because
feel I'm with you. Yeah.
every person gotta figure that out for themselves. Like you gotta put yourself in an environment that promotes the growth that you need to see, or that supports you in the way that you need to be supported. You can't if you need a loving environment, you need constant encouragement, you need such and such, such and such, then you can't be around a bunch of hateful people because you can't grow in that environment. You have to literally put yourself in there. I watched a video on Nipsey Hussle. He said our people need to get out of survival mode. That's the only way you're gonna see any kind of success or any kind of change in your life, like any kind of meaningful change.
Yeah,
You
I
gotta
agree.
get because if you're stuck in survival mode, you never focusing on the things that really matter on this earth. You only here to survive. You only
Yeah,
focusing on making it to the next day. And that's a wall. Like you can't see past tomorrow because you only focus on surviving the day.
yeah, man. And I think that's but we live in such a systematic world where some of those things are intentionally done to keep you from being able to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like
So
it's always
that's why I didn't mean to cut you off.
no, you good.
But
Go ahead.
but I feel like that's why once you start that's what I'm saying. Once you start focusing on yourself and then you start doing that kind of research, and then when you start saying words like systematic,
Yeah.
Like when you start really realizing what systematic is and systemic racism and how they put certain things in your face so certain things can happen that cause certain reactions and stuff.
And then hide certain
For a
things.
person like me, that fuels me to go harder. Like that means I gotta work even harder to get myself out of this gray area. Because I know that the odds are stacked against me. So that's even more reason and justification to get out of survival mode. I gotta get out of survival mode.
So I'm gonna see if I can show. Let me see. I'm just gonna try something real quick. I don't take offense to it, right?
Okay.
So if I say, Clyde, hey, bro, take a month off. What's gonna happen? Take a month off, bro. Don't add no to do it. Yeah, take a month off, relax, totally relax, and just put all attention on you for the next month. What's the first thing that come to mind? Now, first thing, don't think about it. First thing.
Why? That was the first thing that came to my mind.
So, like, I know personally how hard you work, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the question will come to that: why do you work so hard?
Yeah, but I know why I work the way I work. I know why I move the way I move. Though I'm not just moving to be moving. Like I'm trying to accomplish.
No. Answer the question: why do you work the way you work?
I'm trying to accomplish something. I know I kind of got a clearer vision on what it is I'm trying to accomplish. So I know I gotta move. I can't sit still. I can't be stagnant. You feel me?
So do you
I got people that help. Like if I take a day off today, then it's somebody I'm not gonna impact. You feel me? So I gotta keep moving.
In a sense of society, when we're moving because we financial freedom, right? Like a lot of us move in that space, right? Like so realistically, I would say how I would answer that question. I respect your answer. What I would say is like, man, like, cause I gotta. They're like, why you work so hard? Oh, cause I got somewhere to be. You can't get that work in one job. You can't get that work in one business. You can't get that one impact. So why do you feel like you have to grind in that way and move so much to make that same thing happen? Where if you realize that if you sit down and work that one job, sit down, deviate a plan, came up, you probably can get the same thing done in this amount of time. Now because you were able to put more thought. And I'm not saying that in thought what you're doing. I'm just saying different perspective.
No, that's a good valid point. But I think for me, I may have got a little frustrated with the trying to do it with the one. So I want to make it happen quicker so I can work faster. You feel me? Like I feel like me going to get another job or whatever that would help my situation quicker than me just trying to do it with the one. Because if I can go ahead and work this other job, knock down what I need to knock down real quick, that's the sooner I can leave that job and focus on what I really need to do. But I feel like I got to play the game the way that it is given to me. And in this world, like you said, with so much systemic stuff going on, so much racism and so much stuff against us, I have to play the game the way it's played. And I can't really play the game the way it's played with bad credit. So in order for me to be able to move efficiently the way that I want to be able to move, I feel like I need to do something to make it happen quicker. So I'm going to work this other job so I can get this credit up. When I get this credit up, then I open up a whole bunch of different other avenues that I can use. I can go for my business. I can go get a business loan now. I can do those kind of things. I can buy a house. I can whatever I need to do for the next step, I can go do that. But I feel like I gotta reverse my debt first.
Yeah, fact. No, I got you on that, but I agree with you on that tenfold. Like I'm with you on that, right? I'm thinking I'll just think outside the box, though, right? And this space where I'm just playing with it, just to play with it. I ain't, and then I've done nothing like that. I'm just saying, like, think about it in a space where now you are in that space of you're sacrificing something, right? You're willing to sacrifice this thing because you want this thing, right? And you feel like this is going to do that, but then you're in a system where a system already knows you're going to feel that way. So what is the systematic going? What is going to be the result of that system? If you look data wise, you look and see like as the more jobs you work, the more income you get, the more money you spend, the more bills you create. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, you may be able to do that. Right? But then think of how many people get caught in the trap of having to do that. Now you got okay. Now how most.
But I can stop you. I can stop you though because some people. I feel like the majority of people that get stuck in that trap, they go into that without a plan. They still living in survival mode because people work multiple jobs trying to pay bills, just trying to get ahead. Like I'm gonna work these 2 jobs, but they don't really go into it with no plan. They start making the money. I got this extra money. Oh, I can buy shoes this week. I can buy some clothes. Oh, I can go get this brand new car now because I make more money. I can go do this. That's not like you got to get out of survival. Once you get out of survival mode, because when you in survival mode, you're going to always feel like self-gratification. You're going to feel like, oh, man, I work hard for this. I don't work these 2 jobs. Everything paid off. I got this little bit of extra money over here. Let me treat myself to something good. Now you're going out there create more debt for yourself. That ain't my plan.
Or you go into it with the same exact mindset of getting a second job to eliminate financial debt, right? And to get into the space. But then in the systematic society, life happens.
Life gonna happen anyway. I already know that.
You get evicted. You know what I'm saying? Your car payment, your car, your car go up on you, and you still paying on that car, and then you got somebody pass away, and you got to pay for a funeral, or you go into the space like so. Like when at the part I'm bringing attention to was like, yeah, you're right, but how would when you're conditioned to be in the way you want to survive right now, if you can't survive in that way, how do you think the quality of your mental health would be there in that space? Now that you have to adjust.
I mean, you always gotta adjust. I don't live in I can't dwell on the what ifs because the what ifs are always possible to happen.
No. I'm just saying. I'm not saying dwelling on whatever. I'm saying legit, like in the space of you. That's how thinking ahead. That's how far ahead you really got to think, right? You got because if you're not, you're setting yourself up for failure. You're in the space of thinking like, I got this huge plan. A doctor. Right.
I don't have to think that far ahead because thinking that far ahead is only going to deter me from moving. If I'm trying to think so far ahead,
not really.
I feel like if I think so far ahead to the point where I'm trying to calculate failures before they even happen, I feel like I'm slowing myself down. You feel me? Like I'm already in a place where I feel like life gonna happen anyway. Yeah, somebody could pass. I could go bankrupt. I could lose my job. I like a whole bunch of different things could happen. Yeah. But I'm the type of person where okay, I'm gonna do what needs to be done, right, and then I cross that bridge when I get to it. I ain't gonna say because I'm the type of person that if I think like that, my anxiety is gonna drive me crazy before I even got a chance to
but so that's the part I'm trying to attention to, right? It's gonna be something that triggers your anxiety, right? And then what happens when that anxiety is triggered? It's a natural process in that space where you're gonna. Let's say you get used to breaking.
No, it's only gonna be triggered if I think about it. But beforehand, if it happens to me,
that's what you assume. Because I promise you, your anxiety is going to go off the exact same way when it happens. If something does happen, you know what I'm saying? Because
it's going to definitely go off. But I'm talking about it'll drive me crazy before I take a step, and it'll make me shut down. That's just me personally and my emotional. That's my emotional standpoint.
I'm not saying look that far ahead though. What I'm saying is, but I'm trying to figure out if I'm explaining it the right way. What I'm saying is like. That's the way that you want to move because of the benefit of your life, right? But statistically, what I'm saying, if you pull it up on any data sheet or historically it shows that if you work more than one job, you're liable to be stuck in that. Not just it ain't just a select few. Now, there's a whole lot of people in a select few that make it out of that. So what I'm saying is that in your mental, I think what I'm trying to show is the comparison of how trauma works, right? Or not trauma, how trauma works, but how we're conditioned to think somatically, right? And that's basically because now you're like, yeah, I'm just because I want it. But bro, what happens if you a month in that joint, now you find out that what you're using this car drop the second job for, you got to go ahead and do this first now. And now life is happening. Now things are compiling. Now you're stuck in that trap. So my thing is like, if you went to that space to escape that space, and now you're even deeper in that space, how do you think it will be an easy transition for you to downshift and be in the same space where you say, all right, boom, I'm trapped here. Let me just go ahead and just shut everything down real quick, plan this out better, and go back and come out with a different plan and come out with the same result. Would you trust that as well as you trust your plan now? That's all. You know what I'm saying? That makes sense?
Yeah, I think I would.
You would? Mm-hmm. That's fair. I can dig that.
I think I would, but it's hard to say because if I say that I would trust that plan, then why don't I trust it now? You feel me? It kind of puts you in a place of like, if you can do it then, why you can't do it now? But I feel like personally, this is my personal. I feel like this is my barrier. Like I feel like this is what's holding me back from that next level. Just because I made poor decisions in my past, where I'm in a position where I gotta reverse my debt, I gotta knock down. I feel like I gotta do that. But if I take the long path, it's gonna take me longer to accomplish.
So who's to say though? That's what you know what I'm saying. Like who told you that? Because to say you're assuming that the same way. So the long path is offered to offer somebody else who took the path.
And it feels long, and you're right. It may feel longer than me because maybe I'm looking at financial standpoint where if I take the energy that I'm about to put into the second job and I put that behind what I'm trying to accomplish, then maybe it'll happen quicker. But in my mind,
That's
it's
it. That's
telling me
what.
that's what you're trying to say.
Yeah, that's it. That's all.
Okay. But yeah, that's facts though. Because I don't know, that's crazy though. You right. You're right.
We go so far in thought process, right? But then think about like
because in my mind it was planned out. You feel me? It was
yeah,
already. I'm a boom, 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 and I'm out. You feel me? Like
yeah, exactly. So my thing was the part that throws us off when we get stuck in our gray areas. Now I feel like is that when we come up with that boom, boom, boom. For me, all right, I messed up here. All right, I gotta get it back now. I can't miss this because I'm about to pour everything I got. I'm about to grind. I'm about to work these 2 jobs. I'm about to go to school. I'm gonna take care of my family. And then 2009, the recession happened, out of my control, right? And then it shuts me down in a space where I was like, damn, bro, I didn't. Like, how am I supposed to bounce back? You know what I'm saying? Like it. So instead of what I thought about, like how I would have moved back then differently, bro, I would have just the part that I thought was quicker. I would have just took the route of going to school for 4 years and took advantage of the opportunities that were presented then to make the opportunities to come in our way, to kind of make that work out better for me. And I would have been more able to maybe process what I wanted versus what everybody else was telling me I needed to get. You know what I'm saying? That makes sense.
That makes sense.
But that what everybody was telling me I needed to get, I took that as what I was feeling I needed to get. You know what I'm saying? Not realizing like, bro, like a part of knowing yourself is like, bro, like yeah. Like I had $600 shoes, I had $500 shoes. I stayed with fresh feet. You know what I'm saying? I didn't, but at the same time, it was just like, bro, like, huh?
You got a comment too. I forgot, bro.
Let me see. I completely when that guy spammed it, I lost it. What's up, Chris? How you feeling? Yeah. No, like so, like nah, man, like it's when you in that space like that. That's why I say that childhood trauma and the child is a lot more complex than we think because even what we think we got, we don't know. Because if I think about this,
know. I said you right, and we ain't talking about none of my childhood. So I'm about to be up all night trying to figure this thing out.
But that's the part where like that, bro. That's the part where like even I catch myself at, man, because I'll be like going to it like really have a conversation like nah, yeah, I'm cool, but then somebody take me deeper like damn, I ain't think about that. Like I thought about it from this perspective from where I am, but I ain't think about it like that. So it's not a bad thing, but you see how hard it is for somebody to realize the level of trauma they experience. You realize it with a lot of work. That may not be trauma for you. It may not be actual bad response. But now you figure out like, damn, I don't know. Like, hold up, why I feel like that?
And then for real, honestly, this just me being optimistic as I am. What I've discovered so far about my trauma might just be the surface.
Hey, bro, I'm with you on that one. I thought that
I will never know until I keep going.
Keep going.
I think you'll get to a place when you start to experience true happiness and you know when you done made it. Like you know when you done figured it out because that's when life just flow. It's no longer angry. It's no longer. It's just
But I challenge that too, right? Because has there ever been a space like I think that's been a space. I mean, so like you're able to push yourself in that space. When I look at like some of the things, like I look at some of our elders that the older generation that kind of move in the space of where it seems like they have that. I also realized that they realized that, hey, shit I can do about this shit. This shit is going to flow. So I'm not going to stress myself.
But that's dumb though. That's dumb
No,
because
it's not. Because
but
but it's a level
I'm
of
telling you, is because everybody is different.
it's
Everybody.
right. But
That's
so
why
it's also a
everybody's path
level
is
of
unique.
wisdom, right? It's also a level of wisdom that comes from the
But
space.
I think when you get to them certain people, like them older ones like that, they might just get to a place where it's just they don't put their head down so long to do what they needed to do and accomplish what they needed to accomplish, to the point it's like, forget it. I done did it. Like life's
Yeah,
about
but
over.
so
Life's about
that,
over now.
so
But
I
it
agree.
didn't. They probably didn't start that way. They probably was ambitious when they
No,
was
so I'm
younger.
saying like so I've been watching this. I disagree, right, to an extent. I disagree on that one, right? Because like let's talk about like as far as like it's some just because you're old don't mean you stop living, and just because you seem like you're not growing in that space anymore doesn't mean you put your head down. It means
No,
that
I'm
you
not
found
saying that. Some people. That's why I say everybody is different, because what my life,
yeah.
what I want my future to look like might not look like what you want your future to look
No,
like.
no, facts.
What satisfy you? Like what satisfy me? I might want a 15-bedroom mansion at the crib.
So,
Like
so,
I
so,
might
so
want that, but you might want a nice cozy 4-bedroom ranch. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
facts. But so I'm not negating that at all. But what I'm saying is, in a space that's what I'm trying to bring it back to. Like you have people in that space that wants that type of thing. That's the life they want. That's the life they afford. That they want to afford for themselves. That's what they want to make them happy. Nothing wrong with that, right? But then life ain't start happening. The grind ain't stopping. They're not going. You know what I'm saying? Like they still have to do something to and be in a space of maintaining and being in that same environment. But even looking at them functioning in that environment that you're functioning at your age, it looks different. It's a different type of peace for somebody who achieved that peace successful, that achieved that type of peace. So I'm not challenging you on what you feel like you should, what you want for yourself. I'm saying like what I've noticed in older people, from somebody that was poor to somebody that was middle class to somebody that was wealthy, like looking at it across the board, like you still dealing with these things that come in that environment. So how do they to achieve that level of peace? And then what I'm saying is that on top of that level of peace, how they got there because they realized that it's some shit that no matter what, they can keep going and get more, but let me enjoy what I got left. Like, okay, I can get, or I
That's
got what I
putting
got
your
now.
head down. That's putting
No,
your
that's not
head
putting your
down,
head
bro.
down. That's
Yes,
not
it
putting your
is.
head down.
You
It's
know
not putting your
why?
head down because you can say
Because
that.
they settle. Because
No,
they
it's not
settle.
settling, bro. Because
That's
it's not.
settling,
Because
bro.
it's not. No,
Because
it's not settling. Because you can't
you
call
know
it
why I
settling
think
when
I'm gonna tell you
you
why I
you
think it's
can't call
settling.
it settling when you got this guy that got to this 15. That's like that got that place in the bedroom, and now he's looking at what his real value life has changed from what he wanted versus now he realized the value was in the time that was lost that he can't get back with his kids. Now he got to spend time with his grandkids. So it's what I'm saying is that balance that comes with it is like, yeah, we all get to that place where we can grind. But then it comes with the cost. And then at some point, we all forced to go with what you say is put your head down, because now it's like, was it worth this for that? You understand what I'm saying? All I'm saying, that's why I learned that. And at 30, when I looked at it then, what I was willing to give up now looks different at 40. And I'm sure when I get to 50, I'm going to get to a space where I'm like, bro, like, I can grind with the best of it. I can hustle. I can outwork anybody. You know what I'm saying? But then, like, what's the cost? And then when I weigh it, is that cost that brain, did I have real peace here? And how could I have balanced it out to have the peace that I thought that I was going to? I don't know if that makes sense.
To
I
me,
agree. I get what you said, but you
I
can't.
look
I
at
can't.
it
I don't
differently.
believe. I don't believe anyone can have true peace chasing a financial goal or a thing that has a tangible.
That's why my
That has a,
viewpoint different, because I
yeah,
told
yeah.
you I'm not chasing money. I'm not
No.
chasing money.
I'm saying. Go ahead.
When you get to a point where the money is not important, I'm chasing a helping goal. I'm a server. My purpose is to
Yeah.
serve other people. But all the wealthy people of the world serve somebody, no matter
Not
how you
all.
look at it.
Not
Most
all.
wealth, except the ones that maybe get rich off of stocks, most wealthy people serve. If they own Amazon, Tesla,
No,
they
they make it
serving
seem
people.
that's not
They
that's what we've been taught is serving. True serving is that you're not getting paid for it. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I
No,
get where you
no. See, that's systematic. You think you can't get paid for serving, but you can.
No,
because if I do TikTok videos and I go viral and TikTok pays me for my content, then I'm getting paid for my value.
Yeah, but I'm not saying serving in that way, Clyde. I'm saying in the way of
it don't matter how you say it. Serving, you can't justify what kind of serving you do. It's serving, no matter what you do.
No, it's not. It's a different type of serving. It's different. It's the serving from in the Bible when the man is wiping your feet, or it's serving you, and when you get nothing in return, you just doing it from the herb of wiping and cleaning his feet of somebody who can do it, or you're going to serve in the space of making an impact and having the world or having influence. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, because at that space where you're serving, at that place where you're getting paid, it's influence. It's a type of influence that comes with that. I'm not speaking on any of that, but I'm speaking on that feeling of peace, right? All I'm saying is I'm not negating you from what you're saying or minimizing what you got going on. What I'm saying is that, and ultimately, bro, when you get to a space that's going to shift, that's going to change, right? So how do you balance like what you think you want now? I promise you, if you ain't got it, it's going to alter a little bit in 5 years. You know what I'm saying? Like, so my thing is that I'm not saying it in that space. I'm trying to figure out how I want to say it. Let me figure out how I want to say this real quick. I get what you're saying. I understand what you're saying, and I understand that as your personal space, right? But I'm saying that as in a space where, like from who I've talked to and who I've interacted with, and I hear the thing that they say as far as that the thing, like everybody has, I wish I would have, no matter where you go, right? Everybody has that worry, everybody has anxiety, everybody has those same triggers, those same trauma responses. And what I'm saying is when you get to that space, whether you have a bedroom mansion, or whether you have a hut in the middle of Central Africa, or rural Africa, you have somebody, there's a level of peace that goes across both places, having that or not, that you carry from if you're poor and if you carry if you're rich. It don't matter. That's the kind of peace I'm talking about. It don't matter if you made an impact.
That's what I said.
Because
that's what I said. The person.
Did you hear the second part? Did you hear the second part?
About the
if you made an impact or if you didn't.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But see, that's important. That's important to me. The impact part is important to me. Like, that's my driving force. The impact is what drives me. But like I said, the first part we already agreed on anyway. The part about the mansion and the hut, we already agree on that. Like, but that depends on each individual person. But I don't even know where I'm about to go.
So I get what I get what you're saying. It depends on each individual person. But what I'm saying is the type of peace experience is the same type of peace, because you have to get past the distractions. You got to get past the things that have happened to you in your life. You got to get past the things that didn't happen for you in your life. You got to get past all those things, and then you get to a space where you're like, you know what? I'm still good. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I say that in a space of talking to guys and having friends, man, that lost $70 million, that they bust their ass off to get to a place, and then they lost it all overnight. And then
the friend, this is not to take away from your friend and him losing the $70 million, but emotionally, how is he emotionally?
So that's the part that almost anybody's gonna have to rebuild, want to bring attention to. When you have that peace, it don't matter if you get all that and then you lose that. You start working with a sense of peace, and you're gonna, if I get it back, I get it back. If I don't, I don't. You know what I'm saying? So
that's a different level of peace. But see,
that's peace. That's peace.
For him, that's peace.
No.
Because somebody can't deal with that.
Like if you look at biblically what peace is, bro, peace doesn't have anything to do with your lifestyle or the way you're living. It has everything to do with
how you feel
and your inner workings, right? So what I'm saying is, I'm saying in a space of realizing life and the way life can happen. When I'm not saying that's how you feel, I'm saying that as somebody that's been a grinder that got there, right? And they see that, damn, this is not what I thought. All right, I want to make an impact, but I didn't make the impact I thought I would. You know what I'm saying? Like, and now what?
You should have been making an impact the whole time. And not when you got there.
You can't control that though. You can't control what people like you. Now, like you said, if somebody turn up podcast and don't like the way I talk, the way my voice sound, that deterred that. You know what I'm saying? Like that makes that.
Then that's them. Like that next person. You feel me?
I got you.
That shit. I don't know, bro. I just think differently. Like I really feel like somebody plucked me from somewhere and was like, "Look, I'm gonna stick you right here because you real different, bro."
Yeah,
And
no, I
boom,
got you.
and they just dropped because I swear I think differently than most people like that I interact with or come in contact with. Like my mind, I just be I don't know, bro. I really can't explain it, but I really feel like my impact is worth way more. I would rather my story is heard
Yeah,
and by a million people than to have $1 million. Now, if the $1 million comes after I've helped a million people, okay, that's fine.
yeah,
But if I would rather help a million people and be comfortable in a 2 bedroom house
yeah,
than
yeah,
to have a 15 bedroom house and not help nobody.
yeah. So that's the part where I was getting like that's the part where I was
But
trying
the
to get to understand.
peace, that's a different one because
Yeah,
everybody's peace is different. That would make, but I feel like my peace comes
I don't at
from
the core of
healing.
it, I'm gonna disagree. At the core, I don't think our pieces are different. I don't think it is. I think that all of us want the same thing. I think all of us want a safe place for our family to have to grow up, a safe place for us to grow, a safe place for our kids to grow, a place that a place that allows us to fulfill who we are. You know what I'm saying? Like in the space of you can help without nobody like you know what I'm saying? Like you can your impact can impact a million people and you not even know it because it won't be determined by this generation. You can give something to one person now that is going to trigger something in them that's going to spark that attention that you're looking for. And what I'm saying is that I'm not the gay. I'm asking you. I was asking earlier in that space if that didn't if that could you still maintain? Would you still believe in your peace? If would you still believe in your peace if it got to a point and you seeing that you didn't make the impact, that the way the impact you made didn't look like how you thought it would, but it doesn't mean that you didn't have the impact. That makes sense.
I get what you're saying, but I don't already vision my impact.
You said what?
I don't vision my impact already. Like
Yeah, no,
I
no. I'm not saying. I'm not saying in that space, Clyde. I'm not
so I
saying.
feel like in my mind, I feel like my impact should look exactly how I planned it.
Yeah. So I'm thinking there's nothing wrong with that. But there's a trauma there that won't allow you to see it and even try to think about it from another way because this is how you want it. So my thing is just to say that like what I'm trying to get in the space of where we set ourselves up sometimes is this is how I want it, this is how it's gonna be, this is how God said it should be. But but I'm not saying it on you. I'm just saying that in the space
I'm
of
my beliefs different too, bro. So
no, no, no.
like
I'm saying
that's a whole
no. So
different.
I'm not saying in that space. I'm saying that we're not talking to you right now. We're talking to somebody who's
Okay.
trying to get to that space. So what I'm saying realistically, as far as like you are in that space where yes, you know what you want and your vibe with the universe or with God that you perceive is different than anybody else that got going on, or you're more in tune, which is fair. But when you think about somebody else, and I'm telling you in a situation, bro, where I was in your position, right? I had it all mapped out and it all fell apart. And then what I thought it looked like, it was not it. But now, and I'm realizing now that what I thought was my purpose then, it wasn't. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I didn't have the flexibility, the mental flexibility of saying, all right, I need to see this. I need to at least peek at this side of it because it's an opportunity, it's a possibility, it's a large possibility that it may not work. You know what I'm saying? Like, and although I do have this energy coming to a space that like this is going to work, maybe this one thing isn't. Maybe that thing that's going to work isn't this thing. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying that what you're saying is wrong. I'm saying that for me in a space where I'm like, all right, I was sold on a space, bro. Where that was God talking to me. I was born in a space. There's nobody gonna work the vision. I see it. The dream is there, and get to a space, bust my ass to it, and then I did everything to make the thing come into space, and then it crumbled apart. Right. So I'm saying that when I didn't go into a space of saying like I didn't go as far as when I got to that space where I thought I was going to be at. When I got to the point where I was almost able to apply to pharmacy school, when I was made the dean list in college, and get to that place after battling with ADHD, and I get to a place where I'm just starting to figure things out and financially get my stuff together. My plan is coming together. I got money coming in. I'm making payments for my child support. I got a new car. I got everything taken care of. Then all of a sudden, bro, it all came crumbling down, right? And then I had to start over. So what I'm saying for me in that space where I didn't have a lot, it eliminated my piece because now I'm like, I put all my vision and went to plan A. And that's what we're taught to do in society. And that's what we're taught to do in the faith. But when I go deeper into the spiritual side of it and I start to read up and on how God works, the first thing you see in almost every religion is if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's the place where like I agree with you as far as on being 10 toes down on your vision, on your dream, right? But I wouldn't suggest that you put that last pinky toe down. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I gotta put all those down, bro. Because if I don't, then I don't believe in my dream wholeheartedly. That's what my mind. That's what I'm telling you was. That's where my mind is different at, because I don't believe that if I believe in this dream that I got a tiptoe, or like you said, not put my other toe down. That means I'm not giving this dream my all, because there's this possibility of failure in my dream. Even
no, it's not.
I'm gonna
no,
but listen to me.
It's not saying it's a possibility of failure. It's saying
that's exactly what it's saying, because it's fear. That's coming from fear, bro.
No, that's not coming from fear, bro. Like fear.
Listen to me though. Let me break it down to you how I think, how I see it, and then you tell me if that makes sense to you. All right, let's just say I get in the car, right? Traumatized. If I'm this is a random little thing I'm just coming in my head. All right, if I'm traumatized, right? I got this fear that I'm riding in a car and the car gonna blow up on me, right? So I get in the car and I don't close the door all the way. So the whole time we riding, I'm holding my door open just in case I gotta jump out of here. I didn't close my door because it's a fear that the car gonna blow up and I'm not gonna make it to my destination. That's a fear.
No,
that's a fear keeping me from closing myself in
ways. So my thing is, what I'm trying to say, maybe the toe was the wrong explanation. It was if you got into that accident in that car and you drove the exact same type of way you're doing, you would have won, and you were straight, narrow my vision, looking straight ahead, not checking anything like that, and you get into an accident, boom. All right, and then you get in the car again and you do the exact same thing. That would be like absolutely. What I'm saying is, bro, like you get in the car, you close them doors. And then as you're driving, you're looking around and making sure that, okay, what happens if this car swerves in this lane? Where am I going to go? Where am I going to go? What happens if this car right in front of me slam on brakes and this car behind me is on my ass? Should I go out on the side? It's not saying that where you're not going to get to your destination. It's saying is,
I had horrible explanation. It was a horrible example.
No, you good. No, it wasn't. Mine was horrible at first. But what I'm saying is, like, it's just in that space of being aware isn't being fearful. Being aware that something can go wrong isn't being scared that something can go wrong. And a lot of times that I think that we condition as a trauma and what's been passed down because we've been trained that there's only one way. It's more than one way to 12. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to do 6 for 6. It's more than one way to get that. But we're like going into it with this place, man, where I've had older men come back to me and tell me and without telling me directly, just in conversation where it was a guy, man. He was 45 years old, and he got so far in a nursing career, and then his mother passed away. Something happened, and then he ended up working as a floor check at the hospital. Right, so he wasn't in a space of that he could up on his dream. He was in a space that now you get a detour. Now everything that he wanted and worked for came through with an unexpected detour, and now that he didn't even give it thought, he caught him off guard. So now he had to spend all this time now thinking about something and getting back on something that he never gave thought because he knew for sure this plan was going to work. You know what I'm saying? It's not just saying, I'm not saying it's piece of it in a space. I'm not talking about peace as to pursuing a destination. I'm talking about peace that you're going to still have if you don't hit that destination as well. Like if you get to that saying where they say shoot for the stars, shoot for the moon, it's all right, you're still amongst some stars. Bro, a lot of people ain't happy being amongst the stars because they wanted that moon, and that's not peace.
All right. So, all right. I the only person I can use is myself, for real. All right. So on my path or my vision, what I want to accomplish, what I see myself accomplishing.
Mm-hmm.
Even if I don't have no plan B's. I'm just tell you that right now. I ain't got no plan B because I'm chasing plan A. So this probably ain't even plan A because of all the different times that I done changed my plans along my life. Because my path has definitely changed a lot of times. I really thought I was gonna end up supervisor of a warehouse like 6-7 years ago when I was actually working in a warehouse. Like I thought that was all my experience was at. I mean, I done changed career paths a few times, but now is the only time I've been in a career where I felt like it was right. So my vision, how I see my vision working out, I'm giving it my all. It's this is how I've been my whole life. I put my all behind it. If I get to a point one day and I realize that it didn't work out the way that I had planned it or I had seen it in my head, I'm not gonna be upset because I wasn't chasing money or anything. I was chasing a passion that I had inside of me. Because as long as I live my life doing what I feel in my heart is right, then I can stand on the results regardless.
Facts.
So if I hit a wall 6, 7, 8 years from now, and then I have to tweak my path, I'm not gonna be upset at that. I'm gonna appreciate the 8 years that I put into this right here, and I'm gonna take what I learned from the ups, the downs, failures, whatever, and I'm gonna apply them moving forward. I already know that 8 to 10 years from now, I'm subject to not even be doing the same thing I'm doing now because as I grow mentally and spiritually and physically, then I already know my plans are gonna change some form of fashion. What I'm doing now, like I might want to do TikTok now, but in 5 years, I may not be doing TikTok. I might be doing seminars overseas. Like like my mind is already, I'm already there. Like, so it's not that I don't think my plans are gonna fail or anything like that. It's just that I'm so down behind what I feel and I believe because I know where I'm coming from. I know I'm coming from a place of love. I know I'm coming from a place of what God would have me to be doing, and that's being a disciple and spreading love, helping other people. As long as I'm coming from that place, then I have no care how the finish line looks. I don't care about how the finish line looks.
And so that's the part where we saying the same thing. Then that's the part where we kind of are we're saying the exact same thing, but realizing that people don't think in that space. The majority of us don't because
people don't think that way.
We're chasing the bag. And we conditioned to think that generational wealth is one thing, right? And not that generational worth is not just chasing the bag. There's something more valuable than the bag because that bag is a currency and currency changes. You got to get something and pass down something that is going to be sustainable through generations. And that's not a currency. Currency has changed since before Christ, since something BCC. You know what I'm saying? Like 10,000 BC, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like it's we passed out something more valuable, and that's the place of getting to that space of where you are. You know what I'm saying? We're talking, bringing attention to the class, like, bro, like your purpose is attached to that bag. What would you do right now if you didn't have to chase this bag? And that's what I talk to my kids about. Like, bro, you don't have to do. What would you do if it didn't take money to survive? You know what I'm saying? Like,
what
how
I
would
do
you
right now?
Hey, that's you. That's you. Like, and that's where God has me work. That's what God. I think that's what God is challenging me at too, bro. Because we had our conversation earlier when I was telling you, like, nah, I feel like I need to go grab at everything right now. But God is like, bro, you can go grab that. You can go ahead and force yourself in somebody else's space or make somebody hire you and do all this other stuff. And then I like, yeah, you got it. But how did I go for you before? You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's in that space where God, like, hey, you went that route. I had that route for you that worked for you then, right? But now I need you to trust me that this route is going to yield what you're looking for. That route wasn't what you were looking for. So you had that feeling then, but now you had that feeling and you had a vision then. And now you have a vision and then you have an idea where you want to go to, and then you know the feeling that you're looking for, and you also know that feeling now isn't attached to getting the bag. That feeling is attached to making sure my family is financially secure, making sure my family don't have to worry about the next day or where food is going to come on, anything like that. Outside of that, bro, if the way the world looks now, I'll be secure with passing down my knowledge to them and understand they can go take that shit anywhere and into any system and make it work for them, because it requires the same thing. It requires that tenacity to go. It requires you to have a vision, a sense of what you're looking for and what you're going. But don't get stuck on with the blinders on and moving in that one track, chasing that carrot that's leading you to that cliff to nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Right. That's why when we was talking about like me with the job, with the other job thing, and getting to a point where you get stuck, you might get where I might get stuck there. I really honestly in my heart don't feel like I would, because I got the vision. Like I feel like my vision came from God, because who else would give me a vision to help and love people the way that I do other than God? So I feel like just taking another job to do, you know what I'm saying, what I said I wanted to do to accomplish, to take the next step further, I feel like I would never lose sight of that goal, because this is the kind of happiness that I need, that I love. Like,
so you had the affliction of a different type of motivation in life, right? Yeah. So it goes to say that the things that cause you pain is what pushed you into your space to help other people, right? But think about somebody who's getting satisfied by what we talked about earlier, going out to the club every night, who's getting that satisfaction from hitting it, from smoking on a regular basis, from sitting there, satisfaction from fucking all the time and being in different beds and things like that. Think about the people that just are in a space of getting that same gratification when they get them paychecks every 2 weeks. Now realizing they missing the bigger picture. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't respond well when you realize you got a lot of people don't know everything. If you question somebody on side today and side and you say something like, bro, what you take some money for? They gonna say you just saying because you a broke nigga. Oh, I'm the broke one. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, I got you. You know what I'm saying? Like, so
hey, you might be right, but guess what? I ain't broke emotion. I ain't broke in here.
So that's the part where that's the part where I'm saying, like, I feel like we struggle as a society, man, because a lot of us are going off where we were conditioned to go and don't allow us to get to the space where you are. You know what I'm saying? They don't allow you to get to a space where you haven't been paying to the point where you know it's another side of life out here. You know what I'm saying? Like, and when that hits you, it tanks you. That's your gray area. You don't know how to get through it. You don't know how to get past it, because you're in the space of, you said, no, I got this goal, I have this plan, I have this action, I got this vision from God. God told me. But the devil talk comes to your ear just as clear as God do sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Like, so what do you do?
That's when discernment come in.
Yeah,
you know that you know God ain't told you to go to that club.
So you say yeah, but you also are looking for a space of, just because you're in that club don't mean God won't come to you in there either. Or you know what I'm saying? Like, or you feel like you could trick yourself and thinking God's throwing you a bone right now. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I done been in the club and then felt the most conviction I ever felt in my life. Like, I just knew I was out of place. I knew I ain't belong. And what I do? Get up out of there, because I'm scared. If God come, look, that's when I used to live in a state of fear. If God come back right now and I'm in this club with this drink in my hand, I'm going straight to hell.
But everybody don't have that fear. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody willing to change. Everybody willing, especially young. Everybody don't have that fear. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think that for God to talk to you that way, you got for anybody, when to speak to anybody that way. I've heard addicts speak on when God talks to them the loudest when they were high. You know what I'm saying? And then you'll see like they change their life around forever. But then you will see somebody that go to church every day and saying they waiting for God to get them off. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's different ways you look at that and perceive it. It's all in. It's all. I mean, you gotta think about it, bro. Because the characters in the Bible, Moses was an alcoholic, wasn't he? Not Moses. What's his name? Not Moses, bro. I can't even think. I'm tired, bro. You know what I'm talking about.
Don't get me in the line. There's a lot of stuff in the Bible.
No, the ark. Who built the ark? No, Noah. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm tired. I should know that one. But I'm just in that space where, as long as he felt he acted on when God spoke to him, he was able to do what God needed him to do, right? But you wouldn't think that what God would talk to a person in that space. You would think that God talking to somebody that don't drink, who walks around, and you wouldn't think that he was talking to an alcoholic in that space. But
I feel like if you believe in God, why would you think he wouldn't talk to a person like that? Why would we talk to a
because we live
drunkard?
in a society, man, who think they know better. They think they know. They think they know everything. Like if anybody knows
But I'm
anything,
talking about if you read the Bible though. I'm talking about if you were a Christian or if you just read the Bible and you see the kind of person that God is, why would you think he wouldn't talk to somebody that was a drunkard when he was literally helping people? Like that was his whole.
Because some people got a way of looking at it, bro. What they said, the same people, they said KKK read the Bible too.
Hey,
you know what I'm saying?
man,
So what?
look,
How did they get that?
we're gonna go ahead and leave that. We're gonna go ahead and leave that topic because this about to open a whole nother topic.
No, I'm just saying, like realistically, like you can look at it. That goes from like you got Muslims who are extremists who perceive the Quran one way, and then you have the other 95% of the Muslim population that believe things the other way. You know what I'm saying? Like so, it's just in how you perceive, and even how you perceive the words is differently. What you read from the scriptures and what I get from the scriptures. You know what I mean? And a lot of people now live in a society, man, where we are generations of we are 5 generations in on mental warfare, dog. And this stuff that's been put in front of us is supposed to keep us that way. So you can't even blame somebody who's in that space because you can't blame people who move in that space because this is what they've been shown us, what's been put in front of them. You know what I'm saying? Like, so you really.
I got to though. I got to, and that's just me, bro. I can't not hold somebody accountable because they choose to take what they were force fed. I can't because we all go through traumas. We all go through situations in our daily life, but how we choose to react to those traumas and those situations determine the life that we live and determines the futures that we have.
But that's facts. That's facts. But there is an influence that you can't ignore. So like there are things that come into place where there are addiction that you have to play that deviates you from that. There is things that are fear mongering on the news that makes you stay in a certain type of space. There are things in place that make you separate
it. I don't watch the news.
That's where
I
don't
watch the news. I ain't watched the news in about 8 years, bro.
I agree with you. I'm gonna say we're in the same boat. We're in the exact same space.
That shit is depressing. When I realized that when the news came on, it used to make me feel depressed. It used to really make me feel worse than how I already feel. And this is coming from somebody who was already in the middle of depression.
Yeah. Like, so think about that in the space too, man. Where somebody that's into those homicide documentaries. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of sometimes you're drawn to that, and you feel like that it ain't bothering you, and you're not realizing what you're taking in. So that's all I'm saying is that no, your perspective is right for you, right? But then there's
everybody. Yep.
There's 10,000 other ones out there that kind of come from a space where like shit. Well, that shit is obviously in the whole COVID pandemic, bro.
Yeah.
You got and a society full of educated motherfuckers.
That's true facts, though.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like,
but that's why I always say that everybody got their own different traumas. Everybody got their own path. Everybody's path is different and is unique for them because you have people who do drugs, cocaine, heroin, whatever, for 15 years, and then next thing you know, they turn their life around, and now they got a house, crib, car, like they really turned their life around, but their life path was different. But then you got somebody who might do heroin or something like that one or two times and die. Like, but it's like everybody's path is different and unique for them. Yeah, and for who they meant to reach. That person who been a heroin addict for 15 years, he may be there to reach somebody that seen him go through all of that.
He may be the next Malcolm X. You know what I'm saying?
You never know. That's why I don't judge. I always come from a place of non-judgment. Like I don't never judge.
So I just like when we had the conversation, I just want to bring attention to the fact that somebody been listening to it. Like it's not as easy as we talk about it. It's not as simple as saying always, well, I gotta go, I'm gonna get there. There's an entire process that allows you to get to that space, and a lot of it does requiring you have to know you, but a lot of us don't realize that we don't know ourselves, and then we don't realize that until we hit that midlife crisis, and sometimes the huge gray area. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just
it's the biggest thing is we got to figure out why we not figuring it out until midlife crisis. Why can't we figure it out now?
We know why, bro, because it's not just a matter of thinking. Think about what we've been taught. We've been taught that I was in a meeting today with Dr. Obari Cartman, and he was talking about his curriculum and some of the things that he was teaching his curriculum, like he made a point to say, like, we're taught that society had this big boom, and back there with Galileo, they were the most impactful place. Not realizing that, bro, it was people on this earth that were like us thousands of years before that. That passed that down. So that has an impact on what you're being taught and what you're exposed to. And then you go in there, you take it to somebody. You can't eliminate the whole the crack epidemic. Before there's opioid, like that divided families and that tanked a society to the point where now a level of that where you and where you and maybe I got to, that somebody was not exposed to a tenth of any of that. You know what I'm saying? And it's a lot of when you go to elementary, when you go to school, bro, let's look at the population of the kids that get it versus the ones that don't. Which one outweigh? You know what I'm saying? So then when you look at that in society, like what you're saying is right, but we're missing it somewhere because it's something more powerful. And like Dr. Barry said earlier today, man, he was saying, while we're in this room having this conversation, talking about how to get out of it, and there are people backing behind how you get out of this space and you pushing out of it, and it's all about you. You got to remember too, there's the other side of that where somebody is saying, nah, keep these there. You know what I'm saying? Like, we need you not thinking. We need you feeling bad about yourself. We need you depressed. We need you not having any goals.
They need you stuck right there.
We need you stuck right now. So
that's why I like, once you realize that it's extra forces against you, because I mean, we already know, majority of our people already know that it's something against us. That's why we always say the white man did. The white man. That's the part where that's the other side. But that's not taking accountability. They blame and we blame, but we won't do nothing about it. You feel me?
No, but that's a real thing though. It's blame won't do anything about me, because now it's so more sophisticated than that. It's not just the white man. It's not just the white man doing that whole thing now. It's a systematic. It's systematic. It's not systematic. It's a what I want to say. It's a complicated thing, man, where you have like race issues isn't the race issues that it used to be. It's a lot more complex. So now it ain't just like I heard earlier. I think Dr. O'Brien said it when he was talking about, like, it's not just black only, white only hangs on the door. It's way deeper than that now. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then you also got people. You got an entire society thinking that they're not impacted by what's happening now, by the magnifier that on a particular, not realizing that everybody's in the same boat. So when you sit back and you look at the way mental illness and mental health is spreading across the world. If you look at the suicide rate of men increasing across the world, this ain't just a Western problem anymore. There's something bigger at play now where, like, bro, like, it's if you have to be in a mindset today of, all right, if this ain't gonna work, I got this in mind. Okay, if this don't go, you gotta be one step ahead. But you're in a place where you can't even get past society of, you gotta go to work tomorrow to pay for this light bill. You can't. You're not. We got so many things going on in this country where the economy is collapsing and the value of the dollar is dropping, and we're transitioning from to digital currency, bro. Like, and we're not even asking the questions that need to be asked because we're so distracted by what's happening. And although we say it's a simple process, bro, some of the things that we talk about, that we've talked about as African Americans during the civil rights movement, bro, the whole world is now dealing with. So if it was a solvable thing that was so easy to solve, and that, why has it got worse? You know what I'm saying?
Because we got our power was taken away even more. But guess what? We allow it to happen.
But how? Like why is that? Like, I'm saying, like, if
we know why. Because they got the upper hand. They got the upper hand. But just because, see, this is my thing though. Just because they have the upper hand, it doesn't mean you stop fighting. You feel me?
It's not saying they don't even have the upper hand. They make you think you have the upper hand. So why is it so?
Well, you're right. They make you think they have the upper hand.
So if something so simple as you're thinking is in that space, bro, like if it's something so simple as thinking, right? Why don't everybody do it? Is what I'm saying. It's something bigger at play. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's something that's putting you in that space.
You can't think when they make sure you working 40 plus hours a week.
That's it.
And then when you come home, you watching TV, you binge watching TV show. They always dropping new TV shows. They new seasons of this. Tyler Perry got about 15 TV shows. You binge watching them. Then you constantly got movies. They make sure you got 5 days at work, 2 days off on the weekend, and on the weekend they're gonna make sure you partying, clubbing, bar hopping, going to the movies. You ain't gonna have no time
Dispensary
to think
hopping.
for you going around. They're gonna make sure, and then in your neighborhood on the corner, they got them liquor stores. When you go in white communities, you don't see liquor stores on every corner. You don't see gas stations on every corner. They don't even sell the same kind of beer in those kind of areas that they sell in our neighborhood.
So that's the part where I'm seeing a change, because down there, like, I can take you some places in Baltimore, bro, where it's white neighborhood just as bad as the black ones. You know what I'm saying?
But that's the thing. They feel like the white people who are unfortunate enough to live in our communities or the areas that we thrive in, they are casualties of war. They don't care about those. They don't care about them ones. Long as the majority is up, they don't care about the other ones. So we can say all day, well, white people is the majority of the unemployment rate, or the not the unemployment rate, the assistance, the food stamps and stuff. It's majority of white people on that, not us. But they ain't gonna talk about that because there's so much other stuff that go along with what is attacking us in our community. Like,
yes, exactly.
It's so much stuff. For one, it starts. Man, I told you it was gonna go to a whole nother topic. It started with slavery. It started with teaching us from a child until we got out of school that we came from slavery. They started teaching us all black people believe that our ancestors were slaves. So that right there takes the power away from what you believe you can accomplish in this world. And then you learning at the same time that you was a slave. These white kids learning that all their people was in power. So their people was discovering America. They was founding countries and being the president and all this stuff right here.
So that's the part where, like, I agree with you too, right? But I agree with you, and that's where I started this, right? But then going to find out, like, it's not just like it's just Western history. They're not teaching about Italians. They're not teaching about, you know what I'm saying? Like, so you're in a place where they told you they're in a place where they said they bring you over here to work. They're bringing you over here to work, right? So
and that's not even true.
No, they did. They brought us over here for free labor. They brought us over here for labor.
That's not true, bro.
I'm not talking about during the Atlantic slave trade, bro. I'm not talking about anything before that. I'm talking about what this was taught in there. It's not. It's not only in a space of. It's not saying that. It's a show of power. It's also a show of, you told us the kids, you already think that you're the lesser form, like you said earlier. But it's also deeper than that, man, because if you dig deep enough into the history book, you'll see that not black people weren't the only ones treated like this during in recent time. What was happening during the Korean War? What were they doing with Asians? What was happening when they bombed Hiroshima? You know what I'm saying? Like, how you look at people
But you know the difference. You know the difference.
There's no difference.
There is a difference. I'm gonna tell you why. It's the reason why you can go in any major city in the United States and found a Korean town and found a Chinatown. These people still have thriving communities. We don't. Yeah, they attack us even harder, bro. They attack.
No, so I'm not saying. I'm not negating that. What I'm bringing attention to is that, yes, we have been attacked hard, right? But then also there has been things done to other communities to kind of have a impact in that place as well. But they maintain it as if they haven't been impacted in that way, because that's what maintained power. If you look at what happened at the Capitol, last year, the year before last? What was that? Last year before last? Mm-hmm. Bro, like, you had the people you protect to stay in power storming your governmental facilities. You know what I'm saying? Like, they had to make, at this point, bro, somebody 10 steps ahead of us knowing, like, okay, we got to make it seem like that everybody's dealing with separate issues. And I make everybody now today that everybody's almost dealing with something similar. Of course, we can go into the African-American side of it and say that we have more black kids getting killed by police. There are more things that's been happening today. Well, I'm not arguing that. What I'm saying is that it's a system in place that has us all divided in a space and makes us think that somebody has it easier than the other today, when all of us have it the same way. All of us feel
that was the plan.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
It's the division. They divide everything. Everything is meant to divide and keep us going at each other so we don't see what's going on right in front of us.
Exactly. So that
you got black going against white. You got black going against black. Yeah. We got black going against black, and then black going against white, then you got white going against Indian, then you got it's a big mess.
But
We
it's not
all
just
fussing, we all in the audience, in the auditorium, fussing at each other, and we don't even see the shit show going on stage.
we distracted because that just ain't going. I remember, bro, it threw me off one day. We were at working in the pharmacy and I have a friend. I think it was from India, Pakistan. So I think it was from Pakistan. And we walked into a restaurant, bro. Me, him, and then my other coworker, a buddy of mine. And me and my buddy, we're black, and of course he's Middle Eastern, right? So we're going to a space, man. We ordering our food, and he hears the guy talk, and he's like, "Oh, nobody." I'm like, what's wrong?" He was like, "I'm not ordering here. I don't fuck with them." I'm like, "Fuck with who?" Like, I from the same damn plate, bro. It was like East. I don't know. I don't want to say the wrong thing. It was like East. It was like East versus West. They both look the same, but they couldn't stand each other. So when you look at the divide that's happening in Africa, you look at the civil wars happening all over the place. Like, bro, this is bigger than just what's happening here. This is the biggest.
It's a circle, yeah, hell yeah. Because you
the
got North
largest-
Korea and South Korea don't even get along.
We have never seen anything like this at this capacity, the amount of hate and separation worldwide in history.
But guess what? You got to tear down and rebuild.
Hey, I agree, but do you think that whoever running this joint or got control of it haven't thought about that already, and you think they're gonna hand over the keys without blowing this joint up?
He ain't gonna have no choice. Ain't gonna choice. Because everything has a start and everything has an end. Everything has an era where it has to come to an end, bro. And it's getting to a point. You have to before you start healing from your journey, you have to hit rock bottom, right? You had your highs, and then you had your lows, and then when you get to your lows, you start to build yourself back up. See, right now we going into our lows, and it's gonna get worse. It's definitely gonna get worse before it get better.
So that's the part that I was trying to bring attention to, like in that space. Like if it's gonna get worse, like what? Like not talking about you or how I move, but like what would you say? Like the suggestion of I guess remedy for the podcast of telling you how to get through something or telling you how you deal with it. It's hard for us to sit there and say just focus on you. It's just too simple. You know what I'm saying? Like although you're absolutely right. It's when you're in that space, it is way too simple to say just focus on you because I do that. I am focused on me. I go get my hair cut every 2 weeks. I go out here and you know what I'm saying? Like
facts.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's so, like nobody is rare that people think about into a space where when I see people talking about I'm finding me, you know when they talk about finding themselves. You see what you feel the energy, what they mean. They got something different going on. You know what I'm saying? Like it ain't nothing you can say to discourage them. It ain't nothing you can say to make them feel bad about what they got on. You can't make them feel any less confident because they know who they are. And that's the place what I'm talking about. That's a certain type of piece that I was talking about earlier. That's the piece where you just don't, you know what you all about and you ain't care what none of this stuff going on in this world. And so that's why I understand where you're coming from. But that's the level of peace that I'm saying that somebody had in the shack versus that. That's the part of peace that I'm talking about where I say, bro, I don't care about none of this stuff. I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care if God take all this today, bro. I am good. You know what I'm saying? I don't care if God give me all this today. I am good. It's in that space of just making sure that you are 10 toes down on being good. But also, when you're 10 toes down, you can't just be running straight to your target. You got to be saying the shit that's coming your way, ducking. You got to be hopping over stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not that because it's getting more risky. It's getting riskier now to make bad decisions in that space. You know what I'm saying? It's getting risky to not know how to provide for yourself in a financial situation, or if you didn't have money to exchange. But that will also it requires you to go beyond knowing yourself. I guess what I'm trying to say. It requires you to go into a space of educating yourself. You know what I mean? Like in order to know yourself, because you can't properly know yourself if you're not educating yourself. That makes sense.
That makes sense.
But then we live in a society where the look at the education system done today. And versus where what you think that wasn't on purpose? You think it's not a correlation between what happened then and what's happening with this increase of mental health prescriptions?
Yeah, that case for one, that's why I ain't really messed with taking medicine anyway after I was diagnosed because I didn't like the way it made me feel. It didn't make me feel like myself. And I feel like that's a big part of it. That's why they start with them. They start with the kids. Like when you're a child, they tell you, "Oh, you hyperactive. You got an attention deficit." Kids supposed to be active. They supposed to be playing. They supposed to be moving around and doing all this. Bro, I work in the mental health field, bro, and I don't understand it.
Yeah, facts, bro. You understand it. You thought it's a difference. It's something different going on. But
then it's like certain stuff I feel like I don't supposed to say because I work in the field. But then at the same time, it's like, nah, I'm gonna say how I feel because it's my truth. That's my truth. And if my truth affects my job or whatever like that, then that's not meant for me. I'm dead with it, like, because I'm gonna still keep helping people. It ain't gonna stop me from helping people.
Fact. Now I'm with you on that one.
Like I said, I just applied for a warehouse. So hey, all else fails, I go back to the warehouse and still accomplish my dreams.
I'm with you on that one. I'm with you on that, bro. I agree with you.
I ain't gonna just tell anybody, but yeah, that's a whole different thing, bro.
So I mean, I get in that space, man, where like how do you we said we gonna talk about the mind. We're gonna talk about the next one. I'm tired, bro. I got a meeting in the morning.
I'm tired too, bro. I've been tired.
And my thoughts start to run together. Chris, I appreciate you still hanging around. But no,
he's still up here.
Yeah, he's still up there. She got the tab open, listening to the backdrop. So no, I like it's yeah. No, hey man, like I appreciate the conversation as always. I feel like I got sidetracked, but it's just been a long.
You went crazy,
man.
Almost 3 hours today.
But I ain't mad. I freed up some space, so I ain't tripping. I downloaded some stuff to the computer and my phone, so I got some space on here to kind of run over now. So,
but yeah, we went off topic a little bit, but hey, it was a good conversation. Nice little back and forth. We always bounce off each other ideas and stuff. So it's a good little vibe, bro.
What did we touch on? Though? I think we touched on. I know I touched on the exercising piece. It may not have been like, and
man, we had to bring them in next week.
Hey, bro, I'm just go ahead and we got
or go Instagram live or something.
This was the day I needed to get some stuff off my chest, dog, and just
we just had a venting session today. You feel me? That's all that was.
Nah, facts. But nah, I get out with you tomorrow, bro.
Yes, sir, brother.
Hey, wait, you come up with a date when you want to do the suicide talk?
I don't know, but we can really do any day because it's Suicide Awareness Month.
Facts. What day we going to do? Let me know, bro. Throw it out here now. Throw it out here now. Where we going?
Monday.
Monday?
Let's do Monday.
I got practice at 9, 10. Let's do Monday.
Let's do Monday. 10.
Monday. Let's do Monday. Monday 10. 10.
Hold on.
9:30.
What about Tuesday?
Is Tuesday better? I don't have practice on Tuesday. Tuesday work.
And I should be pretty free on Tuesday.
Let me know, bro.
Yeah.
Tag me.
I got you.
Tell the folks so you put in stone.
You said what?
I would say tell the people so it's in stone. I'm messing with you. I'll get up with you tomorrow, bro.
All right, bro.
All right, man.
All right.